Channels are open. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Blood of the Void, our Klingon live play of Star Trek adventures. And we're excited as hell to finally be going live with this game that Aliza and I started dreaming up about 6 months ago when we were thinking about doing a game called Clear Skies, which you will find on this channel 3 nights out of the week during the month. I want to go ahead, before I get into the thank yous and everything else, I would love to just go down and start with Christopher and just introduce yourselves, if you could, please, my friends.
As me?
That's you.
Okay, I am Chris Eddins, improviser, writer, yada, yada, yada. Been a lifelong nerd, and that's all I got. I don't know what else to say.
That's a lot.
Blah!
Hey, Quincy.
Hi, my name is Quincy Sursmith. I'm an actor, improviser, a podcast producer, and Jaimungo nerd, including a Star Trek nerd.
Right on. Jade.
Hello, I'm Jade Law, improviser and actor.
And I'm sorry that you have to follow that up, Phillip, but Phillip. You're muted, Phillip.
Hey guys,
we should have placed bets on who the first person was going to be.
I was the first one to do it. What's up, guys? My name is Phillip Jeanmarie. I'm an actor, and I'm excited to be here.
Kapla. And then Aliza, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Aliza Pearl, actor, writer, improviser, Trekkie, and Klingon.
All right. Yes, it's a good thing we got a whole new group here. Before we jump into tonight's game, we've got a couple of things, some housekeeping to do real quick, some thank yous to Thomas Maroney, as always, who did our design for our logos, Z Films, and you'll see what Z Films did for us here in just a moment. Jason Charles Miller, whom you will also see did something for us in just a moment. We want to thank all of our friends at Star Trek Online for constantly supporting us, Clear Skies and Blood of the Void. It's been thrilling to partner up. Want to thank Q Times, of course. Without Q Times, we wouldn't have a platform to tell these stories. Q Times just applied for partner, so we're crossing our fingers for you, Jake. Hope you get that. Thank you to the Clear Skies cast, and of course to the rest of the stream punks who are probably watching right now. We love you guys. We hope you're enjoying your night off. You lazy bums. Y'all just had a very, very stress-free episode last week, and now you're just chilling and hanging out at home. I can already tell that Sam DeLev is probably in chat throwing death threats at me. So thank you to that. And thank you to the Klingon fan empire, the Klingons around the world, and our supporters out there who've been really excited to see this game come to fruition. Thank you guys so much. We hope we deliver a story that you find worthy. So we have a few announcements. The Day of Honor, which is a big deal. The Day of Honor is this coming Saturday. Streampunks, Star Trek Online, Eagle Moss, Hero Collector, and Modiphius have all joined houses to honor Kalis with a series of live-streamed panels. We'll be right here on Twitch on Q Times. It's this Saturday, July 11th, and it starts at 12 p.m. Pacific time or 8 p.m. BST. Modiphius, the Klingon source book, that came out, that has been announced today. And it will be available in PDF and hardcover, so definitely check that out. Yes, and after our next game on 27th, we will run this as a monthly campaign, so tune in here. Yes, indeed. So we're going to have our next game. What we're going to do is Blood of the Void is a once-a-month campaign that we play at the end of every month. Because of our launch date and because of what's going up, we're going to get 2 games this month, so you're going to catch us here again on July 27th. And then we will be back to our every 3 weeks, we will revisit our crew of the Klingon Blood of the Void. So, yeah, definitely stay tuned to Clear Skies for details on that. Those are all the announcements I have. So before I sign into our game tonight, does anybody out there, do any of y'all have any announcements that you want to make? I didn't think so. It's our first episode. We don't really have much to announce. All right. Well, in that case, before we start the story, let me prepare all of you at home. This is a Star Trek story, yes, but it will also be a bloody story. But don't worry. When all hope is lost, trust that our heroes will die well. It's time to begin the story of the IKS Borku. The Federation star date for the time period in which we begin the story is 59062.61, also known to us humans as January 23rd. On the other side of the quadrant, in a place called Earth, right now on this day, a ship called the USS Ross is leaving space dock. But a whole new journey has begun on the other side of the galaxy. We begin tonight's game with Commander Bemir beaming down onto Taigokor. This is the Klingon world for high command. It is the military hub of the Klingon Empire, a rocky, hot world where some of the greatest warriors the Klingon Empire has ever known are honored. This is where the Hall of Warriors can be found, where the Order of the Batleth inducts new members, where Klingon Imperial Intelligence makes its headquarters, and where Klingon High Command stations its greatest generals. This is also where you can find the Klingon shipyards. And indeed, as the IKS Borku came out of warp, arriving on the scene, what greeted her crew looking out through their viewport, their view screen, was the might of the Klingon fleet. Many of it still in a state of refit and repair from the Dominion War 6 years ago. Such were the losses and the destruction that was spread across the galaxy, the harm that was done to the Klingon military. But what a glorious victory. Worthy of ancestors. So many warriors lost. So many warriors raising their mugs in Stovokor. To those who still live, the vista of the Klingon forces is still a sight to behold. Hundreds of ships come and go in this system all the time. Many of them are stationed here on a permanent status in order to defend the Klingon homeworld and defend the Klingon High Command. This ship, as it's come out of warp, has seen an array of battleships in orbit, including a few that are being constructed in space dock right now, including one of the new Negvar class warships. The Negvar, of course, is the next generation of Klingon battleships. It is, yes, Jody, massive. A huge battle cruiser, the size of a Galaxy class easily, with weaponry that would give even a Romulan at the helm of a Diridex class warbird pause. It is a warming to the blood to see this being constructed in the Klingon shipyards. But all about, too, are signs of the Defense Force's power. The shield generators that surround the planet, the drone ships that fly in orbit, defending this planet. This is the bastion of Klingon military might, the heart of the warriors' fleet, as it were. However, the IKS Borku, a Kvort-class bird of prey, has been brought here not to celebrate its victories. It's been brought here because it has been summoned by a very angry general who wishes to speak to the new commander of the IKS Borku. As you materialize on the transporter pad and the red glow begins to part before your eyes, Bemir, you finally materialize on the pad. Please describe what Commander Bemir looks like.
Bemir is tall for human, compared to human standards. She's probably like 5'11". She has broad hips, strong thighs and lower body, slender upper body. She is calm, but underneath the calm, there is this fire of indignation for being here. She has she has this hair, curly, natural, kinky hair, afro hair. And yeah, that's what she looks like.
When you materialize on the pad, you see a few of the Klingons that were waiting for you nod in acknowledgement and respect as you appear. One of the attachés approaches the transporter and says, Commander, she is waiting for you. Follow me.
I follow.
Walking behind this attaché to the general, you were being led down these darkened corridors, which is typical of the Klingon culture. Klingons like it dark and hot. And that is exactly what these corridors are. To a human, this would be very uncomfortable atmosphere. It's very warm, with shadows being cast across the hallways and reds and green lights glowing all about you. You walk past a lot of officers here from the KDF who are watching you suspiciously as you move past them. They see the emblem of your minor house upon your Klingon armor. You see some members of these KDF don't seem to recognize your emblem. Not surprising. The House of Kavek is not well known yet, but that is soon to change. You're led down a few more winding passages and corridors, past a few more warriors who turn and gaze at you as you move past them, until you finally enter what looks like a large office area. Inside,
In the hallway, I passed one of them, and I did one of the fake out that thing to one of the warriors. Staring at
okay. He just starts a glance at the one next to him, and there's a bit of a chuckle from his friends who watched him flinch a little bit. You
I laugh
you enter into the main hall area where the attaché turns and looks at you and nods and says, "You may go inside."
I go inside.
The heavy doors almost screech when they open. As they separate, you see inside what looks like a tactical display area. This is a command center for sure, as well as the office of a general. And in stepping within, not only do you see relics of battles past fought, but you see holographic displays indicating the tactical readiness of the entire planet, along with Klingon fleet positions positioned throughout the quadrant, patrols reporting in. All of this real-time information that's flooding in through here on this large digital display that's basically glowing up from the floor, creating this massive hologram right in front of you of data readouts. On the other side of the room, amidst this red glow, is a Klingon woman adorned in it would be understating to say that she is not adorned in all of the refinery of a high-ranking general. You know her, of course, to be General Ledru. General Ledru is a member of Chancellor Martok's inner circle. She is one of the members of High Command and one of his personal advisors. You know her by reputation. You've never met her. But judging from the message you got from her, her reputation is well earned. The Klingons around her, when she's not listening or they think she's far away, call her the Space Witch. She is known for being harsh and direct, even for a Klingon. And when you step into the room, the greeting you get from her is the heavy clattering of her data pad on her desk as she tosses it with contempt onto the surface and leans back to look at you as the door closes behind you. And she slowly rises from her chair. She's not as tall as you, but Bamir, you would swear that this woman is aware that she is the largest woman to ever walk the Klingon Empire. By the way she holds herself, by the way she angles her chin, by the way she moves around the side of the desk, she knows her station. And without fear, she strides up to you and looks you in the eyes and says, "So, you are the thief."
General Ledru, I am appalled at that word. I thought perhaps you were being dramatic in your message to get me here sooner, but you really believe I am a thief?
Who gave you your command? She turns on her heel and starts pacing back towards her desk, waiting for an answer.
I don't believe there's anyone who needs to give me my command.
Wrong.
I made a house. I bought a ship. I have command.
Yes, I see. The data here says that one of the members of a dying house gave you the last bit of property, and it has been cleared by the High Council. So,
Then
The
why am I
Borku.
here?
because, Commander, I ask you again, who in the Klingon Defense Force gave you command of a Klingon warship?
No one.
No one. No one. You want to know
I
why
failed
you
to
were
see your
here?
point. Yes.
You are
I failed to
here.
see your point.
Would you like to know my point, Commander?
Yes.
You are here because I intended to strip you of your command and your honor. But I can't do that. Because apparently, someone, when they claimed their command, also managed to save a Klingon shipyard from piracy. Unthinkable. An embarrassment to the KDF. And yet you and your crew seem to have secured the yard and saved information from being stolen. And so, High Command has ordered me not to tear the rank from your armor and send you back to Konos in disgrace. Congratulations on your command.
And you're welcome for that shipyard.
Yes, the shipyard. I looked at your crew roster. She picks up a data pad again. You chose these members of your crew. Could you not find anyone else?
I didn't want anyone else.
Hmm.
These are the finest warriors I found for my crew.
They are skilled. There is no question. I see an undisciplined ragtag crew, a chaotic crew. And I see someone who has never taken command of a ship before. What makes you think you are worthy of leading these warriors into battle?
General Ledru, perhaps you came up in a world where you needed everyone else's validation before you carved out your place. I do not live in that world. If you want me to explain myself, I can do that. But I won't need any advice or any judgment from you. So if you have anything besides those two things to tell me, I will stay. And if not, then I should get back to my crew.
She leans back in her chair and she says, "What do you see when you look at me, Commander?"
I see someone who is threatened by someone younger and more agile and starting their command.
You
That's
are
what
a
I see.
fool. What do
Am
your
I?
eyes tell you when you look at me?
You're afraid.
No. More basic. What do you see sitting behind this desk? Not a general. Tell me what you see.
A Klingon woman.
Yes. A general in the inner circle of Chancellor Martok. So, knowing that and being who you are, I dare you to tell me once more that I am used to having things comfortably given to me, that I am used to having things a certain way, that I am not used to having to take what I know I am worthy of, what I am deserving of when surrounded by fools. I dare you.
Seeking my validation?
I do not require the validation from my lessers. And my general's rank gives me all I need. What I see from you is an insubordinate child who isn't ready for command. You have much to prove to me if you want to keep that chair. and you're going to be given that chance. And she tosses a data pad across the room to you.
I pick it up and I look at it, but I also stroll over to the wall where there were, I think you said weaponry and also holographic projections of.
Yeah, you see like holographic displays and old weapons and stuff.
I walk over to there, but also looking at the data pad.
The data pad are orders from Klingon Defense Force. You distinctly pick up the word Nausicaan and just glancing over it.
What do the orders say?
You are being ordered to a sector in space to uncover the location of the Nausicaan raiders. The name of the system is called the Rintec system. It's believed, Imperial intelligence believes that the Nausicaan raiders that attacked the station that you rescued, they believe that that is currently where they are hiding. And the Borku has been ordered to find them and to capture the vessel if possible. It also mentions data that has been stolen. It also mentions that you have the permission of the Klingon High Command to destroy the vessel if you're unable to recapture the data.
Okay. But capture is first?
It's preferred. And at that point, as you pause to read the details, you hear the general's voice pick up behind you and say, "You almost managed to stop them from stealing everything. They did, in fact, steal data from the station, not in the command center. Though I will confess, you did well stopping them from stealing the data from the command center. It would appear that your ship was not what they were after, not like we initially thought, just as you did. We thought they were there to steal a Klingon warship that had been laying in waste for nearly a decade. But as it turns out, they were there for something else. We need to find out what, and we think they managed to obtain it. Imperial intelligence also believes that they were hired, that they are working for someone else. This seemingly useless bit of information obviously has great value. If you can capture the vessel so we can learn more, do so. If not, turn them into ashes."
General, did these orders come directly from the High Council?
No, they are from me. As much as I do not like you, Commander, the truth is, I admire you. Your ambition, your drive to take. It is not unlike how I began, and you deserve your chance. I've seen your battle records from the Dominion War. While other Klingons may hold it against you that you come from a family that values money, I can tell, looking into your eyes, that behind your petulance and ego there is a warrior. And a good commander. And I know you've tasted Nausicaan blood and want to finish the job you began. So, this is your chance. She says, the big toothy grin. And then she leans back again and she says, I'm also amused to find that the Ikeos Boku is your ship. Do you know the history of that ship?
I do not.
I'm not surprised. Few do. The Borku is an old ship. I thought her lost. I was surprised to see her in the manifest. The Borku was the original. When we were much, much longer ago now, before you were born perhaps, when the Empire was commissioning new versions of warships to be made, the Borku was the first of her kind. She was the larger version of the Burrell class. And when she was created, it was assumed that the only engineering feats that needed to be required is simply to make a barrel bigger. Of course, once they constructed a larger class vessel, they discovered that the 45-degree angle across the bow the 45-degree angle of the wings were no longer necessary in order to channel the appropriate amount of energy to the disruptors in such a smaller craft. And so she was reworked and scrapped. And the next vessel became the first of her class, the Cavort. It is fitting that you should have this ancient mistake of a ship. Don't you agree?
General, I know you and the High Council look down upon people not born into the warrior class. But it is my lifelong mission to show you why you all are classist and wrong.
We are classist and wrong. She rises again and begins to walk over to you with a different body posture this time. She approaches you and looks up at you. She says, I am from the House of Martok. You will not find Gowron's philosophies in our house. We do not look for the warrior caste, Bemir of House Kavek. We look for warriors. And your story is the life of a warrior who has been looked over again and again and again. Just like the Borku. So, I find it fitting that your story begins here. Your orders stand. Go.
I soften a bit at that last thing and I nod. I turn. I just give her one last look before I leave. Kapla!
Kapla.
And I go.
You step out, heading back to your ship. To your left, you can see the Hall of Warriors in the haze of the morning. You can hear the clangs of batleths inside, the shouts and roars of rage and joy. And for a moment, your Klingon heart is filled. What you realize now, Bemir, is that this hardened general might be the closest ally you have in high command. By the time you reach the transporter pad, you realize she is trying to forge you. Just as the energy overtakes your body, breaking you down molecule by molecule and sending you back to your ship, the IKS Borku. Our next scene begins with the doors to the turbo lift. As the lift opens, you step out onto the bridge and you see your crew. One by one, I want to start with Jade. If you could describe Eddins.
Yeah, Eddins looks pretty much like me, except there's a huge difference. I'm 5'3.5". Eddins is 5'2". So I'm playing that 1.5 inches to the best of my ability. So Eddins is a very small Klingon. Everyone towers over her. She's wearing a big coat that has a ton of pockets and little hidey holes everywhere. And yeah, other than that, pretty much this one right here.
Nice. Quincy, what station are you at and what do you look like?
Lieutenant Ra'amyan is at the helm station. He is also bald with a classic Klingon goatee. He is lighter tone skinned with about 5'10" or 1.75 meters. And he is sort of a little bit older. He's entering his Klingon middle age, and flecks of gray start to appear in his goatee. Not his hair, though, as he has none on the head. And he wears a standard Klingon uniform and has a slightly stocky build. Someone who is trained for combat, but maybe not the tallest and largest of the warriors.
All right. Phillip, please give us your description and what station you're currently seated at.
Yes, I am Olmec, son of Bosch, and I'm the lieutenant science officer. I'm 6'1" with a slightly toned build, not a stocky Klingon, but this tone build allows me to be a very agile hunter. I'm a hunter as well as a expert with the Batleth.
All right. And then over at the security station, Christopher, if you wouldn't mind giving us a description.
I am Kotar Ayan. I am tall even by Klingon standards. I sit at 7 feet tall, but I lack extremely noticeable ridges, but I look like a classic Vulcan in that I have giant eyebrows. My dreads cover what I like to not give people a reason to kill them for, my very pointy ears that show that I am a half Vulcan as well.
You step out onto the bridge. You all see your commander return. From what you knew was going to be a dressing down, you were not sure if Bamir was coming back. You do know that the message that she got from High Command was not happy, which was a bit of a surprise considering your stunning victory 3 days ago at the shipyards. By the way, currently the Borku is staffed up. Capable of housing up to 500 warriors. You currently have a crew of 250 on board, which is more than enough to not only crew the Borku, but also it is enough to actually have some Beck warriors that can conduct military operations. But you see your commander step back onto the bridge.
I say, "Ho, Commander!" And I also say, "How's that space witch doing?"
She was surprisingly supportive, and we have a mission.
Oh, that is surprising.
Yes,
she's real mean. I've talked to her a couple times.
she is something. She's something else. I will tell you that, Idaj. We must set a course for the Rintec system.
Setting course for Rintec system.
And I need you all to know that if you liked getting a taste of Nausicaan blood, we have more of that ahead of us.
I can't wait. Are we to destroy them, Captain?
Are we what?
Are we to destroy them?
We are to capture or destroy. I have some thoughts about why they would tell us to capture and not just destroy them. We should discuss that on our way there.
What warp would you like to set?
Oh, yes. How far away is it?
Let's see. It is about 15 light years.
Oh, that's pretty close. So
yeah, as the galaxy goes, not too bad actually.
How about let's say warp 5?
Warp 5. Okay. So
Warp
helm
factor 5.
at warp 5. Oh, you might want to go a little fast. I'm looking at this calculator.
How long will it take?
This is funny. So at warp factor 5, because the calculator I'm using, at warp factor 5, 15 light years will take you 27 days, 6 hours, 57 minutes.
No. Warp 8.
No.
Warp 8.
Warp 8.
Increasing warp speed to warp 8. Awaiting
Okay.
your order for engage.
Ra'amyan, engage warp.
Engaging warp, Commander.
All right. Leaving the system, the IKS Borku begins to pull around, and angling yourself outside the system, you jump to warp. At warp 8, it is going to take you 5 days to reach the system. Now, in that time, as new players to the game, this is something we do on Clear Skies all the time. During that time, if there are any scenes you would like to have with other players or other characters, warp is a perfect time to have it. 5 days is a perfect time to have some time to yourself, to do your duties, to show us a little bit of who your character is. And it's okay if you don't want to do that at all. And that'll actually just cause us, as Star Trek would do in television, we would just cut to you arriving 5 days later at the scene. So if anybody would like to have a scene with somebody else, I open the floor to you all. Otherwise, we can arrive at our destination.
Excellent, Dodge. Let's go ahead and duel. We got to show I need to show the recruits how this is done.
Hell yeah, let's duel.
Okay. Oh man, already the chaos begins. Okay, so there is this is a covert class bird of prey. So, although technically it's a Borku class, but it is a covert class bird of prey. So there actually is a training hall on board this vessel. It is on deck. I think it's on deck 3. It's been temporarily set up as a training hall, which is actually a cargo bay, currently empty. But the Klingons on board the vessel have set it up as a training facility. So when you both walk in, there are a couple of Klingons leaving, rubbing their arms and whatnot, nodding to you in respect. Inside this training hall, you can see a couple of banners. One is a small banner to the House of Kavek. You also see of course, the Klingon emblem emblazoned up on a banner that's kind of torn. You know from looking at it, this Klingon, this particular banner is actually a holdover from the Dominion War, and was brought on board the ship to sort of honor those who were lost. Hangs over what looks like a rack of batleths and mek'leths, as well as a few swords and training daggers. When you two walk in, there's only a few people in here who are milling about and talking and chatting. A few of them shouting at each other to stop talking and train. And the two of you enter. What would you like to do?
I'd like to pick up something like, is there a sheet pan or like something loud? Like, I don't want to disrespect the batleth, but I want to clang something real loud. Can I clang something?
Clang something real loud? I mean, yeah, the batleth, I mean, in your hands, if you want to clang a batleth, you can. If anybody's got a problem with it, they can talk to the XO, yeah.
I'm going to take 2 batleths and pick them up and clang them together over my head and say, Qatar has challenged me to a duel. Let's all gather around and watch this.
So I want to point out something rather funny. A batleth is approximately 5 feet long. So as Eddins holds these 2 batleths up, she's literally holding blades that are almost as tall as she is, clanging them together, screaming that she's been challenged to a duel. However, in just 3 days, the crew has learned not to find this funny and has managed to actually make room, especially when metal clangs against metal and Eddins is the one responsible. So heads turn and look. Everyone gets quiet.
I want to open up the comms. Fools, come down here and learn how a warrior fights.
Are you basically calling to the Bucks to come watch you?
To the younger crew, they need to come watch their captains fight, so we can show them how it's done.
So you are tactical officer, but you're also chief weapons officer, and you're chief of security. So those Becks who respond directly to you do begin to filter in after a few moments. A few of them were here on the deck. It doesn't take long for a few others to arrive, but Klingons begin to enter this cramped, now becoming more cramped space, forming to what is starting to look like a fight club as they all start sort of packing themselves in to watch. There's a lot of murmuring, a lot of laughter, a lot of excitement. The Becks getting a chance to watch their commanding officers beat the hell out of each other sounds great to them. And they're all just surrounding the lot of you. You can just, the temperature of the room, even with environmental controls, has gone up dramatically as all these Klingons cram into the room together. You guys have probably about a 6x8 space between the two of you, not very big. And that's taking into account swinging batleths. All right.
I want to take off my coat and show all the cuts I have.
Remove your body armor.
There's just cuts everywhere on my body.
So Kotar bare chest this, removes his body armor and pulls it down. You see the scars Kotar, you would know, Adaj, Kotar has had an interesting life. It's when Klingons look at Kotar, they see two things. They see a forehead that's smoother than theirs. And in Klingon society, in their eyes, that's something you should be embarrassed about. And they also see the pointed ears. Klingons don't see a Vulcan when they look at Kotar. Their mind immediately goes to Romulan. It is an insult on top of an insult that he has had to deal with his entire life. And the scars across his great chest prove it as he drops the body armor to the ground.
Captain,
what are you doing, Adaj?
In response to him dropping his body armor, I just grab my coat and armor and pull it tighter around me. I kind of pull like a little hood over my head, so it's kind of harder to see my face.
Mm-hmm.
I start to crouch in the corner.
You have your daggers, your signature weapon.
Oh, I have several daggers on me right now. I pull two of them out, and I'm crouching in the corner, and I'm kind of like shuffling around.
Okay. So, Kotar, you've seen Adaj do this. She looks like some kind of predatorial reptile when she does this. When she pulls this hood up and crouches low and starts to sway back and forth. What's more terrifying about her battle stance is you can't see the daggers she has in her hands. You know they're there, but you can't see them. You can hear the clacking noise as the two blades branch out, typical of a Diktak dagger. Unusual for a Klingon to wield two at once, but you know she's got them. And there's more on her body as well. Are you picking your favorite weapon as well?
While she does that, I'm going to tighten up my arm bands, and I ask her first to 5 cuts, and then I grab my betleth, which
5 cuts?
Which looks different. It's like, it looks like a bow and arrow, but it has the other side as well. It's like 2 reverse bow and arrows, and I swing that 2 times. So let's give them a good show.
Okay, so 5 cuts. I would be surprised if this lasts 5 cuts. We are now going to do. At this point, I think what we're going to do is I'm going to roll a die. And I'm going to, this is kind of an unusual, so we're kind of doing this on the fly, but I just want to leave this to chance. So Star Trek Adventures does not inherently have an initiative roll system, but it also doesn't always have a PvP moment like we're about to have. So I'm going to leave this to chance. I'm going to say a dodge is even, and you, Chris, your guy, good old Kotar, son of Ayan, is odd. And here we go. Okay, Kotar, you've got initiative.
Haha. Then I want to feint for her legs and go for a punch when she jumps.
Okay.
So,
it's common for people to think that a batleth is a slow, clumsy weapon when compared to other Klingon weapons. And these are typically people who forget that a batleth is meant to supplement a Klingon warrior, not replace a Klingon warrior. And following those tactics, you do a classic maneuver of making it look like you're putting the entire force of your blow into the swing, but in fact, the real attack is coming from your hands. So you are going to make, this is going to be a daring security check, difficulty 1, and Adaj, you also are making a roll here, but because of the skills that you have learned using martial arts, and because of the skill that you have, you are able to supplement your medicine check in place of security. This is reflecting your ability to know the body of your opponent, applying the skills that you have learned and using them to maximum effect. You've fought Kotar before. He's big, he's scary. You've seen him behead 2 Nausicaans in one swing. You know a little bit about how he fights. So that's how you're using this to your advantage. So you are going to make a daring medicine check at a difficulty of 1. So go ahead and roll your d20s. Tell me what y'all get.
I got a 1.
That's a crit.
And a 5.
That's martial arts. That's for you. I think that's also a crit, isn't it?
Yeah, I have 5 medicine, and I also have a Mokbara focus.
And we decide, okay,
I got a 1 and a 14.
you got a 1 and what?
I got 2 successes. I got a 1 and a 14.
Okay, so that's actually because
My
you have
dagger is
you have focus and batleth, right? Or focus
Yes,
and
I do. Batleth and yes, I do.
Okay, so that one's a crit. You actually get 3 successes. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take the most successes, which was 4, and we're going to use that to add 3 momentum to your pool. Everybody gets 3 momentum here. And as you go in for that punch, Adaj, you get to hit Kotar instead because you beat the roll by 1 success.
With that, I'm going to dodge since I've seen him do this before. And I choose an uppercut with one of my blades right on the inside of his rib cage. But I'm trying to avoid any vital organs. So I just want to stick a dagger deep inside him.
So you are going to stab him then?
I am going to stab him.
Okay.
And I want to
All
leave
right.
the dagger in there to ensure that he doesn't bleed out too quickly.
Sure. I mean, if you're going to be stabbed by anybody, you might as well be the XO who's also the ship's medic.
That's
So go ahead and this is you made your attack roll. So you've hit him instead using your blade. So now you're going to roll your damage.
Okay.
So your diktak, and it's going to be it's your diktak and your medicine score.
Okay, so I think the diktak has damage 2, or do I use a base?
The diktak has a damage of, that's a good question. I think it's 2.
Yeah.
Let me pull that up. Yes.
All right, so I have 5 medicine and 2 diktak. So is that 7 rolls?
5. You're gonna roll 5, 6. Yeah, that's 7 dice. So 7d6.
All right. So let me write this down. 3.
This is nuts. I love that the first blood being drawn in this game is each other's.
Darn, so many 3s and 4s.
Oh no!
Okay. All right. 3, 1, 3, 4. 6, 7. 7 damage plus 1 effect.
Okay, diktak has vicious. So that's so here's the thing. Jesus Christ. So here's the thing with that. That's going to be a total of 8 damage. 5 damage is an injury and would usually drop somebody immediately. But typically Klingons have armor that would have helped with this, but Kotar, being like as metal as he is, removed his armor so he could take the full brunt of this. So here's what's got to happen now. In order to avoid injury and to keep going, you're going to have to actually spend 2 momentum here, Kotar. Otherwise, she's going to drop you in 1 hit.
I'm doing it.
Okay. You feel this diktak dagger bury itself into the side of your chest. It may have missed vital organs, but it was a debilitating strike. She's not doing your typical sparring rules here at all. She jammed a blade into your chest, and there's some shouts of alarm and cries of like howls of delight as she pulls the knife free, and there's blood all over the blade. You feel the sharp stabbing pain between your ribs, but it's not enough. To his credit, you see Kotar kind of stumble and look at the blade, the wound, and he does not go down. In fact, he's still standing. So that's going to be a new round. It's going to be your action again, Kotar. Oh no, this would actually, yeah, that's right.
I didn't use my talent last time. Can I use that in this situation of quick to action?
Where you retain initiative?
Yeah.
So it's tricky because in 1v1, when you're using melee in 1v1, initiative is almost a moot point because the attacks are happening at the exact same time. So it almost doesn't matter who's initiating them.
Okay.
So what you can do is after this attack, you'll be able to attack again.
Okay. All right, tight.
No matter, or actually, we could actually say you can attack again now, and you should be able to get good to go. So this is a 1v1. Read off what that talent does for. for us.
Combat, you and your allies may ignore the normal cost to retain the initiative.
Right. Okay. So in this case, it's actually really not going to.
Also, I should have used Killer Instinct. Is actually what I wanted to use.
Well, it's going to be your action.
When you choose to make a lethal attack, you do not add threat. In doing so, in addition, whenever your enemy can attempt to make a lethal attack against you, you may add 1 threat to increase the difficulty of their attack by 1. React to their intent.
So you can. So just to be clear, you can make the difficulty higher for her, and I gain threat. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Okay.
Why?
But I'm not going to do that. I just was reading that out. I couldn't.
Okay.
But I'm going to go. You know what, Exo? That was a very good attack.
Do you still want to keep fighting? Because I respect the swing of your bat left.
What a funny question. And then I turn and I swing it at him.
Roll. Both of you roll again. Roll again. Same as last time.
Medicine, okay.
Yep. Same as last time. Difficulty is 1. Jesus Christ.
I got a 10 and an 18, so I got 1 success.
I got
One
a 5,
success.
I got a 5 and a 12.
That's 2 successes. Here comes the Batleth. All right. So, Kotar, you are now going to roll your security plus the base damage of a Batleth, which is a monstrous 3 points of damage, being a heavy blade. It has vicious 1. So, go ahead and make your. Oh, you know what? That's okay. It looks like a Klingon dagger. Actually, it does 1 damage, but that's fine. It's okay. Because it was still an injury either way, so it doesn't really matter. So go ahead and roll 5 dice plus 3 more, so 8 total, Kotar, as you bring this Batleth down.
While Kotar is trying to kill me, I'm gonna go around and high five the Becks on the side where
If only you could do that in like the space of the swing. You just bolt from combat, high five everybody, come back and take the hit.
All the time while this is going on, I'm watching it on the monitor, and then I go on the comm system, and I'm like, I got next.
Okay. Are you ready for this?
Yes, go ahead and make your roll.
I got 4, 6, 5, 2, 1, 6, 5. I got a
So
4
how
in
much
there, but I didn't count it.
How much is that? Plus how many effects?
How many? The effects are 5s and 6s?
Yes, and they count as 1.
Okay. So 4 is nothing.
4 is nothing and 3 is nothing.
I got 4 1s plus 4 effects, and then I got a 2 and a 1.
So total, you got 4, 5, 6, 7 damage with 2 effects.
Yes.
So that's 9 damage. Okay. So if I remember correctly, you guys do not have any momentum left to avoid injury.
I have 1.
It costs 2.
Well, I only have 1.
But how many successes did you roll in the attack?
This one, 1.
I rolled 2.
So you actually gain 1 momentum. So you actually do have 1 momentum. You can burn 2 momentum right now to avoid injury. But you're going to take how much? What? This is nuts. What is your stress level? What is your stress level, Idaj?
11.
11. Okay. So you're not in trouble. But essentially, the two of you go back and forth, swinging, dodging, moving. Kotar is ignoring the bleeding wound he has in his side. And as he goes for a swipe right over your head, you duck low, and just too late, you realize it was a feint. And using the skill of the Batlet, the fact that it has 2 blades arcing on both sides in a crescent, you see as the swing passes right over you, he skillfully flips the other end over on top and drives it straight towards the ground in a very unorthodox counterattack. The blade catches you on your back and cuts right down like a knife cutting through a bread, slicing right across your ribs, hitting hard and deep. It's enough to almost knock you on your ass, but you're going to spend 2 momentum to avoid injury?
Sure.
Okay. So y'all burn 2 injury. So again, No honor is lost here as a batleth crashes down into your 5-1 commander. And she 5-2 commander, and she doesn't drop. This batleth that's literally her size crashes into her ribs and drives deep. There's a shock and a cry of alarm and roar of victory from everyone around as their 2 commanding officers are now bleeding profusely. Now, as the GM, I'm going to tell you both that neither one of you can withstand another hit.
Okay. Can I
I think we accomplished the mission.
can I take an action here?
I mean, yes, it is you can take an action.
I want to take my hand, stick it in the blood dripping down my back, and then I'm gonna like slap it on my face. So there's a bloody handprint on my face, and I go over and I slap Kotar's face with it too, and I say, "Our blood is one."
There's a roar from around you as all the warriors shout and cheer at their 2 commanding officers, bloodying each other in front of the crew, showing no fear of death, showing no fear of pain, slicing into each other, and then showing the camaraderie afterwards. Rouses a chant, "We are Klingons," from everyone around you over and over until it reaches a thunderous level. And you feel your warrior hearts open up, even as the pain is coursing through your bodies. When this is done, you both are going to the infirmary. And this is how the scene concludes as you sit there looking up at Kotar, towering over you with a big grin on his face, your blood running down the side of his beard, his blood pouring down the side of his body, the 2 of you brutally injured, grinning at each other. You receive a report later, Commander, and you as well, Omek, you all hear news that both the first officer and the chief of security are going to have to spend the next 6 hours in the infirmary while their wounds are tended to. The great irony is, of course, the woman who is responsible for engaging in this fight with Kotar is also the one curing the wounds and soldering them closed and using regenerative tools to close up the gap and heal the flesh. Looking back over, though, I'm going to do this because that was, I'm going to go ahead and reward the group 1 momentum to reflect morale on the ship after this show to the crew. Word spreads quickly throughout the ship and stories become a little ridiculous, but no one glosses over the fact that the chief of security was stabbed in his ribs and didn't drop, and that this 5-2 XO, who's the Klingons are now calling you made out of Durasteel, didn't drop. Morale on the crew runs high. If there are no other scenes, we can cut to, unless anybody else has any requests. Yeah. What do you got for us, Amyan?
Just a short scene with our commander, just to ask her about her interaction with the general.
High command. So we'll say you are currently in your captain's quarters, the equivalent of the ready room off to the side of the bridge, looking over reports coming in from the Becks of everyone training. A lot of the day-to-day, the worst part about being captain, but also somewhat calming. It gives you meditation. Bemir, when you hear a chirping sound followed by the heavy doors of your room go sliding open, and you see Ramyan standing in the doorway.
Amyan, what is it? What do you want?
Commander, a moment. I wanted to see if General Ru's reputation precedes her, and if she lived up to that reputation.
Oh, she did. But Amyan, she was much more complex than I thought she would be. The Space Witch. There's so much more to her than that. I think she actually wants me to do well, surprisingly.
It is unsurprising. The workings of the inner council and the closest consorts and advisors are complicated in my experience. But if you say she has confidence in you, or at least enough to give you assignments, Perhaps it is good. It is a great position to carry favor, especially with one who is in the house of Martok himself.
Yes. She is well positioned to do us favors down the line. It's true.
Would you like me to make sure that she has no enemies who might wish us less success than she would?
Yes, and Ramyan, I also wanted to confer with you and the other bridge officers. Remember when we took the station back from the Nausicaans?
Yes, it was a glorious victory.
Yes, it was. It seemed that didn't it seem that the Nausicaans must have had some inside information to be able to take the station in the first place?
I suspected as much as well. How would they know if there was even anything there? The
Exactly.
or whatever else they might have taken.
Exactly. I want you to look into this. I want you to use whatever political connections you may have and find any connection of a High Council member, including Ledru, with Nausicaans.
Do you suspect she is sending us into a trap? Deceiving you with her confidence?
Well, why would a Klingon general tell us to capture anyone? Capture Nausicaan raiders for what purpose? Why not just destroy them on sight?
It is true that in times of battle we are to take no prisoners, but perhaps there is something of higher value than merely lives and victory here.
There was data. They said they did manage to get off of the station. But that is another question I have, because when we went to the computers, you and Omek checked, and it looked like they couldn't even get into the computer. So what data could they have taken?
A curious question indeed.
Yes, there are some inconsistencies, and I will follow these orders, but I do want us to have caution.
It is a wise action to take. I shall look into it.
Thank you. I'll also let the other senior officers know about our suspicions and to be wary going into this Nausicaan raider mission.
A warrior should always be ready.
Yes.
So
Kapla.
would you like to call like a staff meeting on the bridge and inform everybody what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, probably just
Okay.
right now. Yeah, just
Yeah.
have them all.
So you step out of the ready room and move onto the bridge. At this point, you stepping out of the ready room, about the time you see your first officer still having what looks like a stain on the side of her face, perhaps, where maybe a hand was, a print, stepping back onto the bridge along with the chief of security who's walking out behind her, and in much the same condition. Both of them, you can tell, are masking the desire to hunch over in spite of their wounds, but neither one of them do. They resume their stations just as you walk out.
We are approaching the Rintec system. I want you all to know that we should be wary. This Nausicaan mission may not be what it seems. Be on guard. We are to capture these raiders. But if that is not possible, do not hesitate to destroy them. Is that clear?
Aye, Captain.
Yes, Commander.
Yes, Commander.
Ra'amyan, how far away are we?
How far away are we?
I can give you that information. You guys, at this point, we can go ahead and say you're an hour away.
All right.
ETA 1 more hour, Commander.
Are we in sensor range?
You will be quite soon, actually, which raises the question, would you like to engage the cloaking device?
Yes.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. You guys have the IKS Borku sheet ready? Go ahead and mark down. I'm not going to ask you to mark down anything for jumping to warp because you've been at warp for 5 days. So that power is returned to you. The scene has changed. But engaging the cloak, you're going to actually have to drop out of warp. So by the time you leave warp, you'll be able to engage the cloaking device. It will probably be enough that you guys won't be detected.
Okay.
But
No, I mean,
dropping out of cloak at the edge of this, dropping out of warp at the edge of the system and engaging cloaking device. Yeah.
Okay. Drop warp and engage cloaking.
Okay.
Dropping warp, Commander.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and speed up the clock a little bit. The IKS Borku arrives in what is now called the Rintec system. This is a system that is filled with planets that are useless, big rocks in space. They don't serve any purpose and they wouldn't do any good to the Empire. As the Borku drops out of warp, off the bat, I can go ahead and tell you, Omek, this is a time for you to run a scan, to scan the system and see what is out there. Standard procedure. So we're going to have you make a roll. You are going to roll your reason plus science. Your sensors focus will absolutely come into play here. And who would like to roll for the IKS Borku? Okay. So we'll do this. First, Phillip, go ahead and make Omek's roll here. It's a difficulty of 0.
1 success.
1 success. You're going to gain 1 momentum. So now go ahead and roll for the IKS Borku, who is going to do that.
I'll do it.
Okay, so the Borku is going to roll her sensors plus science. So that's going to bring you a total of 10. Don't forget to mark down 3 power from the Borku's maximum power rating.
Just to check, what is our sensor and our science stat?
Your sensors are 9, your science is 2.
So is that 11 or?
Yes. So the roll for this is going to be 1d20 and you need to roll 11 or under.
Wait, are you rolling for it, Quincy?
No, I just wanted to make sure the numbers was right. He said 10 earlier.
Okay, I got a 9.
You rolled a 9? Okay, so that's another success from the Borku. So 2 momentum. You do a quick scan of the system, Omek, and the sensors return the following information to you. There are 2 planets in the system. One is completely uninhabitable. Using the Klingon classifications, most of these aren't even in the level of classifications that are worth a damn. There is 1 class 2 planet, Yon class, about the size of Mars. The other planet is a gas giant with 26 moons orbiting around it. The smaller planet that is more rocky base is a little bit closer to the sun, which is a main sequence star and is huge, about 3 times the size of Earth's sun. There is an asteroid belt towards the inner part of the system, separating the gas giant and the rocky world that you see, the class 2 planet. If you would like to know more about the system and what you see, you can spend momentum to obtain information. If you remember, you actually have Studious, so instead of asking 1 question of the GM, you can ask 2. This reflects Omek's ability to science.
Commander, with your permission, I'd like to initiate scanners and also ask the GM more questions.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so out of the pool that you just got, you're going to spend 1 momentum. What question would you like to ask? And you can ask your party members for suggestions if you'd like.
Any suggestions? Do you guys want to?
Oh, and let me give you this information too before you do, so that you don't waste a question. You don't immediately detect the signs of any vessels in the system.
That was gonna be my question.
Yeah. I want to make sure that you don't waste that. Yeah.
Can I ask just a clarification? Was it 2
Yes.
planets? So a gas giant, a rocky Mars-sized planet, and an
Mhm.
asteroid?
Asteroid
20
belt. The gas giant has 26 moons.
All right. But no vessels in the area.
No vessels detected in the area. Main sequence star about 3 times larger than the Earth's sun.
I
It's
we
a
should
would-
ask
big
about a
system with
base.
large orbits. What's that?
Maybe we should ask about a base.
Any structures on any of the moons or planets?
With
Or-
26 moons, if you're going to scan them, it's going to take a while.
What about any ship like warp signals or engine?
Exhaust trails.
Yeah, like that kind of thing. See if a ship has been there recently.
Okay.
I would also suggest maybe asking, like, knowing Nausicaan culture or history, what is the most likely place for them to hide in this system, whether it's on a moon or a planet or in the asteroid belt?
Ooh, I would make that a security role. Like tactics warfare or knowledge war, something like that. I
Could
don't
I
know if
assist
you.
that?
What's that?
Can I assist whoever does that role? Because I have some.
Yes. So we
foreign-
can get to that in a second, but I would say that's a separate role if you want to put 2 and 2 together on that one. For Olmec, you want Olmec to ask if there's any warp signatures or any trails in the system.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. I can confirm that yes, sensors are in fact detecting that there has been activity in the system. It's not coming from you guys. There has been a ship in this system. It is close to the asteroid belt. That's the answer to your first question. You get a free second question. Do you have
What kind of life are we working with, if that is acceptable? I need to know what I need to kill.
Well, they're Nausicaans, according to intelligence reports.
Should we hone in for a structure in the asteroid belt? Is that too much to scan?
You can use an obtain information check to see if there's any traces of maybe energy signatures coming from a structure in the asteroid belt. If that's what you want your question to be, it's up to Olmec ultimately, but you guys as a crew can help him decide.
Yeah, maybe if we can see where the energy signals converge to see maybe where they came from or where they went to, if it points to something.
Question, Commander. Is there also a way to scan for possible like sentry weapons in that asteroid belt? Like maybe any type of defense mechanisms that might be deterring us from entering into the system?
I
I
think
would
that
ru-
would be your as
Yeah.
technical, right?
I would probably rule that would be part of the scan for energy signatures and a good like Trek way of phrasing it to try to locate anything that might be in their system. If you want that to be your question, and Jade, you didn't miss anything. We're just coming up with questions to ask. It looks like the crews decided that they want the second question to get the information they get from the sensor scan is whether or not there are emplacements or structure of some kind that's generating energy in the asteroid belt.
But just to clarify from the Mir's council, they said that there would be a Nausicaan ship in this sector, right?
That's what Imperial Intelligence has claimed. They believe the Nausicaan raiders that attacked the shipyard you rescued fled to this system and that they have not left. They also don't believe that the Nausicaans are aware that they've been discovered.
Okay. Yeah, I was just trying to clarify if we're looking for a ship specifically here or just like them in this area.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Okay. What would you like to do, Olmec?
I mean, I think we should look for structures and follow that trail.
That lead sounds good to you?
If the commander's okay with that.
All right. Looking at the sensor data, you do not detect the presence of any structures within the asteroid field. It's a pretty large asteroid field. In Earth measurements, it's about 1 AU. So it's the orbit around the sun here is tremendous. Technically, it would take you hours of scanning to really thoroughly go through the asteroid field and be able to locate if there is anything. But your sensors are going and telling you that there's no immediate energy signatures detected that are from a structure. You do have evidence that a warp signature has been detected in the system, though. You can't You can get an approximate position of the asteroid field, but you can't get an exact location. Okay, that was the science scan. You guys are currently proceeding under cloak, so nobody knows you're here right now.
Can we do my security question then of where is the most likely place for
Sure.
the hide?
Now, your commander is going to assist on this. Who would like to roll for that? Would you like to roll for it, Jade? It's going to be this is actually going to be, I might actually say that this is trying to pinpoint, I might say this is a reason security check.
Then I'll do it.
Reason security check, and you can use your focus of like knowledge warfare or tactics or anything like that.
I have Starship
allow that.
Tactics and Tactical Systems. Can I use either of those?
You can. Are you guys cool with Kotar taking point on that roll?
Bamir, and you have a focus too for this, right?
Yeah, Bamir's going to assist.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead and make your roll. I'm going to set the difficulty of this. I'm actually going to spend some threat because I haven't spent any threat this game. I'm going to spend 2 threat to raise the complication range. So now, if you roll an 18 or higher, it's a complication. Are you having flashbacks, Aliza?
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead and make your reason security check, and the difficulty of this is going to be 2. And tell me what you get. How many successes you get?
I got 1.
1 success?
Yeah.
All right. So, Aliza, you can roll as well for the assist. And then someone is going to... Oh, wait. No, actually, you wouldn't use the Borku here. So, Aliza, Bamir is the only one that can help succeed this roll. Oh, actually, no, because he actually failed the base roll. It was difficulty... No, you have to roll at least 1 success, which you did. So, you can actually carry it over. Go ahead and see if you can get that second success that you all need. So Bamir, you are going to roll for this. I'm going to have you roll your insight command.
Insight command. Okay.
And because you're assisting, your focus can't apply here.
Okay.
You don't get criticals.
1 success.
That's enough. That is enough.
Kabla! Kabla! Security check!
What?
So, Kotar, as you're looking over some of the information that's coming through the sensors, your eyes studying the data, you're looking over this asteroid field. Ramyan's angling the ship to get in a better sort of like perched point of view. And as a cloaked vessel, you guys are making full advantage of taking your time to really look at the system in front of you. You know, your instincts are telling you. Nausicaan raiders, they're not always the most clever. They tend to use the same tactics that every pirate uses. Hide behind a rock. And if shit gets serious, run. There's got to be Nausicaan raiders out there hiding. And if it's the same ship that you guys saw before, you need to look for a rock that's considerably large enough that they might be hiding behind. As you're staring at the data, you feel the presence of your commander move close to you. And she's by your side now, looking over the data with you. The two of you begin to confer left and right, back and forth, your experiences, the cat and mouse games that you played during the Dominion War when you were hunting down Jem'Hadar ships, Commander. As you're looking at the data coming through, the two of you see one rock in particular that's just a little bit larger than the rest of the rocks in the asteroid. And it's the only rock within 60,000 kilometers of its size. You don't have any data that would support the theory. However, if you were going to hide behind a rock and you were a stupid Nausicaan, that's probably where you would go.
Commander, Nausicaans are not exactly the smartest tark in the barrel, if you will catch my if I was a gambling man, I would say that they are hidden behind this here boulder inside the asteroid belt. If I can suggest a strategy, I say, since we are cloaked, we move behind said boulder and we show them the consequences for their actions. I also need to catch that one who ran away. I'm really mad he coward missed my blade.
Yes. Well, let's get in closer and see what we can see from here.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I must remind you all, we need to try to capture them. Try.
I can hear the pain behind the mute of Jade's mic.
So how many of our most powerful torpedoes shall we load while we maneuver into position?
Well, have some torpedoes ready, but I'd like to do another scan as we get closer to see if we can pick up what we can see. Is there a ship there? How many life signs, if any? Let's do another scan as we get closer.
Commander, I'd like to initiate a scan.
I'm just going to ask this because it's pertinent considering the loadout of this ship for the audience to know. When the IKS Borku was created, this crew chose multi-role battle cruiser, which gave the Borku some pretty terrifying power. As a result of this, Commander, I'm going to ask you now, in the barrels, would you like photon or quantum torpedoes loaded and prepared?
Let's just stick with disruptors and photon.
Okay.
We don't need to mess with quantum because we don't even need to go there.
Okay.
We'll save that.
All right.
Save the fireworks for another time.
Okay.
Commander.
You decide the Borku shouldn't bring out her teeth just yet.
Yeah.
And you guys begin to move closer. So right now I'm going to actually have Ramyan make a helms check here. And I'll need somebody to roll for the Borku as you guys move closer into the asteroid belt.
Can my question, I'm sorry. Can
What's
my
up?
focus in Starship Tactics help with this in any way?
Probably not here, but when combat breaks out, which it seems like it's going to, that's when I would say that's really going to come into play. Yeah.
Just trying to help.
For now, this is really just to determine whether or not Ramyan can take a cloaked vessel with no shields right now into a rocky asteroid belt. This is not Star Wars, so things aren't flying around like crazy. This isn't a recently destroyed area, but it's still a maneuver. So you are going to roll for the IKS Borku. The Borku is going to roll engines plus con, of which that is one thing the Borku is really good at. Her total is going to be a 15, 11 engines and 4 con. So whoever would like to roll for the Borku, and you...
Oh, no. Omek will.
Omek will? Okay. And then you are going... Ramyan, you're going to make a control con roll. The difficulty for this is going to be 2.
Anyone opposed to me using momentum to fly this thing a little bit smoother? So 1 momentum gives me 1 more d20?
It'll increase your odds of success, yes.
Well, what's the difficulty right now?
It's only 2. So he actually has the capacity by adding an extra die. It is costing you a momentum on what you might think is a minor roll, but by adding an extra die, he's actually increasing the chance of gaining more momentum, especially if he rolls under, because your helm score, your con score is 5, isn't it, Quincy?
4.
4. So if you roll a 4 or less, because maneuvering a ship is what you do, rolling a 4 or less is going to get you guys momentum. Beating the successes multiple times will get you guys momentum.
Great.
Yeah. So the difficulty is 2. Go ahead and make your roll, and then we'll roll for the Borku. How many successes you get?
2 successes.
Okay. Go ahead and roll for the IKS Borku, whoever would like to roll. Oh, that's going to be you, Omek.
1 success.
1 success. So you gain back the momentum you spent, and you are going to succeed. The IKS Borku under cloak. A sharp eye looking out into the dark void of space might see a distortion among the stars as this great war cruiser creeps along the path, maneuvering quietly towards these great asteroids. You eventually reach this one asteroid in particular. This asteroid is roughly the size, to give you an image of how big it is, roughly the size of Manhattan. Large chunk of rock. And as you begin to crest the horizon, just as you see it on your displays, just as the sensors activate and pick up the ship lying in wait, you see on the view screen a Nausicaan raider at low power currently hovering on the other side of the rock, completely unaware. No knowledge in the world that right now behind it, a Klingon frigate, a battle cruiser with weapons ready, has maneuvered into its aft with the intention of taking them. That is actually where we have to stop for our 8 o'clock break. So,
It's called a
with
hook.
that, we're going to go ahead and take 10 minutes, get some water, use the bathroom, get ready, because a fight's a coming. We'll see you in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to Blood of the Void, everyone. Before we begin, I want to give a big shout out to Mary Chifo, who has been a wonderful supporter, and we adore her and we appreciate her support. You've made Aliza all blushy and happy tonight, which is always fun to watch. So, as we give our thanks to the mother, we are now going to jump back into the story, Blood of the Void. Where we left off is the Ikeos Borku, proceeding under cloak, has managed to uncover the hiding place of these Nausicaan raiders. You have crept up on their aft. They are completely unaware of your presence. Currently, they're about 300 meters just ahead of you.
So, Captain, if we can't destroy the ship, could I lead a boarding party if we can disable them?
I'm sorry, 300 kilometers, not meters. Should specify. You guys aren't that close.
Commander.
Yes, before we do that, I'd like to know how many Nausicaans we're dealing with.
That's exactly what I was going to suggest. May I run a scan, please?
Yes.
Yes, you can. Okay, so this is going to be, go ahead and make your roll. The roll that, whoever wants to roll for the IKS Borku, this is a sensor science check. Omek, you are going to make your reason science check here. You guys are only 300 kilometers away from the ship. You're right behind them. So this is actually not going to be a very difficult roll. Their power systems are down, so you're beginning to understand why it was difficult to detect them. They're using an old trick. Go ahead and make the roll with a difficulty of only 1.
I had 1 success, Commander. I failed you. I apologize.
Oh, okay. So difficulty 1, you got 1 success. Who wants to roll for the Borku?
I will.
Oh,
Okay,
nope.
Commander.
Quincy, do you want
Your
to?
prerogative.
Oh, okay. I have a task for Amyan in a second.
Okay. So
Actually,
the
I'll just
Borku,
tell you, Amyan, please, full stop.
Full stop, Commander.
all right. This distortion, moving like a great bird of prey in space, comes to a slow stop. You are all hovering 300 kilometers just behind this ship. Go ahead and for the IKS Borku roll, sensors plus security.
So
I'm sorry.
9,
Sensors plus science, I apologize. So 9, 10, 11.
11.
Yep.
1 success.
Okay. So you're going to bank that momentum. You were scanning for life signs. There are currently 18 Nausicaans on board. It's a small freighter. Let me give you the stats to this thing because you've scanned it. This Nausicaan raider is scale 3. So it's 2 scales lower. You guys are basically two scales higher in size than this ship. You dwarf this ship. It is armed with disruptor cannons and spatial torpedoes. You're definitely detecting that. However, judging from its armament and its hull, the IKS Borku would make short work of this raider. This is not meant to take on a warship. This is a hit and run insertion ship. It's designed like, think of on Earth, it's designed much like the Buccaneers of old, who didn't necessarily have big ships at their command, but they would take canoes out and basically raid ships that were anchored at port. This is a ship that's supposed to get in, attack people from the inside, get what they want, and get out.
My question is, if it's powered off, would we be able to beam on board without them knowing?
Yes.
Can we do that?
Captain,
Commander, and yes.
Commander. last time they were able to leave our presence and escape. Is it prudent to perhaps disable their engines somehow before we beam aboard?
Amyan, you and I are of one mind. Yes. Yes, Edaj.
Yes.
What were you proposing?
I'd like to take us aboard, take a landing party on board, and capture or kill all the Nausicaans. But if I can wait until you disable the engines first, I'm not impatient.
I'd like to disable these engines, and also if there are any escape pods or shuttles, I'd like to hit them in those places so they cannot get away. Yes. Kotar.
Commander,
What do you think?
I have a quick tactical question. Could you beam our boarding party on and just attack at a different point and disable their weapons so that we can start our attack with the confusion of them all in a kerfuffle when we blow their escape pods and engines up? We can.
So get the landing party in place and then shoot out the engines and shuttle bays, and then you would move into capture.
Commander, correct.
Your second action could be because of his talent, he'll allow you to keep the initiative for free. So as a second action, you can beam your boarding party over. I'll go ahead and also tell you this on that scan, since you already get some information, the tactical information of the vessel, since you're pretty much up their backsides right now with the sensor check. They have no escape pods.
Oh, okay.
This ship is too small. Yeah, no, there are no escape pods, no shuttlecraft.
So we just take out the engines and beam the landing party over, and we're good.
This sounds like fun. Who wants to go?
Shall we all?
Commander, do you want me to locate their engines, or do we already know where they are?
Yeah, I mean, not only do you know where they are, but you guys have got them as sitting ducks right now. They're at low power. They're currently under the impression that they're ducking you out, that they're the ones that are cloaked, essentially.
I think we actually should beam over first and then shoot, because if they have any few seconds of warning from us shooting out their engines, they might put their shields up.
Just be aware that will place you on board when a Cavort class bird of prey opens fire on this thing.
Well, yeah.
So if you're down, but just be
It's
aware.
not possible to do it at the same time, right
I have
after.
faith in my soldiers.
And we can also beam to where we know, like away from the engine room, for instance. The other side of the ship.
It's your call.
Probably the bridge. I would say let's beam towards the bridge and shoot out the engines and have it happen as close at the same time as possible.
Okay.
Everyone in agreement? Doesn't matter, because I'm the commander. Let's do it.
You're metal as fuck. I want you to beam me on board that ship, and then I want you to shoot the fuck out of it.
Well, when you say it like that.
Yes, Commander. The order is given. Becks immediately begin to assemble. Your security team begins to pile up. You guys, narratively, the only thing that's going to be relevant is what you all do. So we're going to just follow you, but we're going to have warriors beaming on board the ship. You guys outnumber them 20-1, and you're many times bigger than they are. This is going to be fun. You don't know what's waiting for you over there, just that you have a lot of Nausicaans to get through. Nausicaans are not pushovers, especially in close range combat. Nausicaans are very dangerous. You had a lot of success against them again on that station, and you're going to be getting the drop on them. But I'm just warning the party now. There will be danger, even though the odds are dramatically in your favor right now because of the sneak attack you're about to land on these guys. So, what's up, Commander?
Quick question. So you said we are also beaming some Becks on board too, right? So it's going to be the landing party plus some Becks?
Yes.
Okay.
And at about that point, the doors open to the bridge. And stepping onto the bridge is a Klingon we actually haven't seen yet. Your Lieutenant Riek, also of House Kavek. She is an older Klingon with graying hair spilling down the back. She's in full body armor. And around her waist are all the accoutrement of an engineer. She has multiple scanners and tools dangling from her side. Her diktak, which is strapped to her right leg, is kind of haphazardly. It's been shifted around, not in a grabbing position. It looks like it's been made, like room has been made for more tools on her leg, indicating where this woman probably places her priorities. But she steps onto the bridge after receiving the order, and she just says, "So, you are wanting me to beam the lot of you from site to site onto the Nausicaan Raiders ship?"
That's right.
And I'm guessing you want me to stay behind.
That's right.
Yes, Riek, we need you. We need you in the command chair. Why were you wanting to draw some Nausicaan blood again?
If you remember, they cornered me in our room, Commander. I have skin in the game, as they say.
I am just remembering now, Riek. I did promise you that next time you would get the first hit. Why don't you come along with us?
You did. She did. She turns to all of you and says, "She promised that." I remember that now.
Come along with us.
I'll do the site to site first, and then I'll follow you.
All right.
Somebody else does it. One of these idiot Becks will probably beam you into the bulkhead.
I want to take my TikToks out and I want to kiss each of them. I'm gonna like clang it against a TikTok on Riek's leg as like a show of solidarity.
She nods to you and says, "You have blood on your face."
Can I do a hype up speech for the Becks before we go?
Sure, you want to go down there? I love how Idaj is basically you're basically Tybalt from Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet right now.
I was gonna say Gimli and Legolas, but also
all right. Okay. So everyone's doing the prep work. It only takes about 5 minutes for everyone to mobilize, arm themselves, get the Becks ready, you giving a speech to your warriors, everyone gathering together. Riek assembles in the transporter room. And she says to you all, "This is going to draw a lot of power from the engines, firing weapons and using the transporters. But I will make sure that by the time you get back, Commander, you'll have power again."
Question for the GM: Do we need to decloak to fire?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, indeed. Bird of prey, any vessel has to decloak before it opens fire. Yeah. So, but disengaging the cloaking device does not cost you power. It's engaging it that costs you 3 power. Firing the weapons, however, is going to cost you 1 power. Using the transporter is going to cost you 1 power. Now, fun fact for the audience, because they're going to get a kick out of this. The USS Ross, which has 2 warp cores, has a power of 15. The IKS Borku, with an 11 engines built to be a warship, has a power of 16. There is a lot of energy coursing through this vessel because you guys also took the trait. You made sure to also take the trait improved reaction control system on top of the fact that you have an 11's engine. So 16, you guys are at 13 because you engaged cloaking device. Opening fire and then activating the warp, activating the transporter is going to drop you from 13 to 12 to 11, which still puts you well over the power level of their vessel.
I just want to make sure I'm also bringing my twin Mek'leth.
Okay.
Yeah, I also want to bring my special Batleth in case that wasn't already stated.
Okay. So yeah, so I'm not gonna make you pay the opportunity cost for that. I'll just say that you have it on you. You're preparing for a battle, no problem. Here's what I'm gonna say. We'll time this out so that the crew uses their skill to open fire on this vessel, and then you're beaming over, or you're beaming over first, and then you're going to let the crew fire on the vessel while you're on the other on the Nausicaan ship.
The second.
I just want to make sure I'm clear.
Yeah, I think it's the second one because we want to make sure they don't put their shields up really quickly after we fire.
So then what's going to happen is the unnamed Star Trek extras are going to basically come in and take command of the bridge, our Aux crew, as it were. We'll have to find out what they want to name themselves. Aux crew is basically going to come take command of the bridge. And on your command, after you beam over, we're going to use the crew skill to open fire on them. So it won't be the same, but You're also in strike. I mean, striking range right now is lethal. You guys are going to make a solid hit, I think. So, if y'all are ready, the operation will begin. Okay, then I'm going to roll for Rayek as she is going to implement a site-to-site transport of all 5 of you onto the bridge of the Nausicaan Raider. This is going to be a control plus engineering check, and I will roll for the Borku. Difficulty will be 3. That's okay. And then the Borku. This is going to be, I'm going to say this is going to be computers plus engineering. So, guys, go ahead and bank 2 momentum as she demolishes that roll.
What's our total now then?
Are we at 3?
What's that?
Are we at 3 momentum?
I have 6.
I have 6.
Okay.
Y'all should be maxed out.
I was off. My bad.
Okay. You all gather in a circle, and you look at Riek looking at you. This older matriarch, this former head of a house, who has now become your sister, looking at you with eagerness in her eyes. This older woman it's been a long, long time since she's had the opportunity to prove herself in battle. And as this red glow begins to fill your vision, Bimir, you can see the eagerness, the fire burning. And then this curtain of red energy begins to flow in front of you. By the time it's separating, you can already hear the screams of alarm from the Nausicaans on the bridge. And as this glow parts in front of you, there are 6 Nausicaans on this bridge. All of them are grabbing weapons and shouting an alarm. The captain, who's sitting in the center chair in the middle, has arisen. The captain is about the same size as Kotar and is in a full vested armored suit with blades cresting off the elbows and shoulder pads. His that big Nausicaan skull of his actually has what looks like a breathing apparatus on the front of it. He kind of resembles the Predator a little bit. This huge long hair cascading down his back, these flaming rage-filled yellow eyes stare at you as he rises to his full height. Because you guys get to keep the initiative, your first action is beaming over to them. The second action is going to be a decloaking bird of prey beginning to materialize. At the same time, there's these shouting sounds. Their science officer happens to glance down at the sensors in time to see this Cavort-class bird of prey begin to materialize with its wings and attack position. 2 massive, yes, Jody, massive bolts of green energy explode forth from the disruptor cannons of the IKS Borku. We are now going to roll to attack this vessel. And this is basically me rolling to attack myself. So we are going to... Okay, this is the IKS Borku. I'm going to give the ship skill of 3 plus... Actually, department. Oh, it's already got scores. So we're going to use... Okay, this is going to be weapon. Oh, God. The weapons are 12. The security is 3. So it's rolling 2 dice. Do you guys want to spend a momentum to add any dice to this roll? It's up to you.
I would say, yeah, one.
1 momentum? All right, so I'm going to add an extra die. I'll give us a 3rd die. You guys are... Let's see, you're using cannons, but you're in short range, which is the optimal range for these cannons, which is terrifying. So the difficulty here is actually 1. Is it? It's 2. Difficulty is 2. Let me just double check. Yeah. Okay. Okay. You are shooting for the engines, however. You are aiming for the engines. And targeting a subsystem is going to raise the difficulty attack by 1. So you guys need 3 successes. It's going to be difficulty 3 here. Okay. Here we go. I roll a 4, a 3, and a 5. Jesus Christ. Oh boy. So we're gonna say that's 1 critical success. So 2, 3, that's 4 successes total. The difficulty was 3. Gain 1 momentum. So you've got 1 outside the bank that you can spend right now. I'm going to roll damage. This is going to be brutal. Okay, so they're sitting ducks. What is their resistance on their? Let me look. Oh God, let me look at the resistance on their ship real quick. Okay, so resistance is 3, so that's going to subtract. You guys are using your disruptor cannons. The damage of your disruptor cannons after the base is a devastating 10 damage. So 3, 6, 9 plus 1. They do have the vicious effect. And here we go. Rolling damage. Subtracting 3. Holy shit. Only 1 die is blank. Oh my God. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 damage.
I mean, just to the engines, right? Like, we're still alive on the bridge.
18 effing damage after resistance.
You love to hear it.
So that's going to be 1 breach, 2 breach, because 5, 10, that's 3 breaches. That's 3 breaches. You were targeting their subsystem of the engines. So I am now going to roll. Oh boy. I am now going to, this is engine subsystem 1, 2, 3. Okay, well, so good news. Oh my. So here's the good news. The good news is that you have successfully completely disabled their engines by smashing into their ship 3 breaches. The bad news is they only have 9 hull. So you bringing their hull to 0 is going to give another breach. Their structure is going to take damage. They are Captain, Commander, as you materialize, the world around you suddenly is rocked. As everyone is drawing their weapons and you hear the cry of alarm that a Cavort-class bird of prey is decloaking. The impact of these bolts smashing into the ship, literally from the outside, from a tactical station on the outside, peels the back of the ship right off, exposing the rear end of the ship into space. The explosion causes multiple hull breaches and detonations. Decompression alarms immediately sound, and the ship itself is sent into a flat spin off into space. You guys are currently with disabled engines, and the impact of this, I'm gonna spend 3 threat. And you guys are now on board a ship that is about to explode, careening off into an asteroid belt. Everybody is hurled to the ground from the impact. I am now going to roll for casualties using the homebrew rules that were very conveniently supplied to us on continuingmission.com. And oh my God, this is great. What a great start to the campaign, y'all. I'm all about this. I'm all about this. I completely. Here we go. Okay. 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 There's multiple explosions that take place in the bridge. You guys see sparks shower the entire space in front of you. For a split second, it blinds your vision as you see the alarms blaring in the whole interior of this Nausicaan Raider. You barely get an interior glimpse as the lights turn red. The decompression alarms are sounding left and right. 2 of the Nausicaan Raiders have been disabled by this. Two of the Nausicaans that stood up with weapons have been hurled against computers. Unfortunately, two of you have also been hurled off of your feet, slamming into walls. So, Omek and Ra'amyan, y'all are going to take... I'll make sure to subtract some of this damage because you're wearing your Klingon armor. So, 4 points of stress damage as y'all both are hurled up against the bulkhead. -1 because you're wearing your armor, so 3 each. It's not an injury. Both of you slam hard against the ground as the entire ship shakes. As you hear these alarms blaring, as most of y'all are picking yourself up off the ground, including the captain, you can hear through the static coming across your communicator is Riek shouting for you, Commander, checking to see if you're okay. We are now
We're
in...
here.
You
All right,
shout back at her.
I answer her back. Just we're here.
Okay. So,
Question. Sorry, quick question.
ahead.
Are we using atmosphere?
the ship is falling apart. I spent 3 threat because I'm giving you a timed task here. You have 3 rounds before this ship spins off into space and explodes.
Okay.
The entire back half of the ship has been completely destroyed and the engine is gone. But the ship is losing. You've reduced this ship down to its 0 hull. Technically, it's coming apart right now.
Question.
So I spent threat to enact a scene. You have 3 rounds.
All right.
Can I see the one Nausicaan who ran away when we did our last mission to help her? I want to take him back.
I tell you what. If you are willing to spend the momentum, if you would like to create an opportunity here, I will grant you this kill, which, if you're going to spend momentum, I will award you for this. It will add to your reputation score, your honor score. But if you're willing to spend 2 momentum to create the situation, to create the advantage, I will let you spot the Nausicaan that got away.
Captain, can I do it, please?
Actually, the first, that's right. Yeah. It's 2.
Oh, wait, there's a complication here. We're supposed to let Riet get the first kill, but I need this blood. What should I do?
Wait, is it, how many momentum is it to do that?
It's
1
2.
or 2?
To create the situation, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, do it.
So
And
keep in mind, you had 1 floating because of that incredible attack. So it's actually only going to be 1 out of your pool. You guys will be down to 5 momentum. So, amongst the chaos and the fire and the screaming and the decompression, everyone's ears slowly popping as the ship is starting to come apart at the seams, you spot the shocked look of a very familiar Nausicaan picking himself up off the tactical station.
I want to laugh and say, it is always a good day to die, but today is not that day. And then I want to go after him and grab him and smash his head into the...
All right. So we're going to head and initiate combat. I'm going to rule, just to make this cleaner, that Riek has decided not to follow you on the vessel. The vessel is doomed. She is going to stay behind to get you guys the hell off the vessel. So it is your action. Y'all get to go first. You've got the surprise round now. You get to retain the action because of your talent, Christopher. Who would like to go? This is where the group actually gets to decide who gets to go first and what you want to do.
Are Omek
one-
and I still down?
You can use a minor action to get up and get back into action. Yeah.
one note, y'all, I just want to save the captain and maybe like whoever's next in command because they would have the most information. So
There's also their computers, which is probably
Commander,
The data itself.
That's what I was gonna say. I'd like to try to access their computers somehow,
Okay.
try to hack it, and
right now.
Okay.
Right now?
Yeah. All right. So who would like to go first?
you guys mind if I try to hack this?
Go
system?
ahead, bro. No, do it.
Let's do it.
All right, Omek, you dash forward amongst the chaos, among the fire and the sparks. You find one of these Nausicaans that has been smashed up against the wall. unfortunately does not have Klingon armor, is also a minor NPC, so he's practically injured at this point. You reach down, grab his body, and pull it off of the console, and he hits the ground with a groan. You're going to have to make a roll here to transfer the data. The computer core is fluctuating right now. It's dying. So if you're going to get all the information off of this, this is going to have to be a quick roll. You're going to have to show some pretty impressive skills here. I'm going to set the difficulty for what you're attempting to do at 5.
Do you guys mind?
It's maximum difficulty to
Bro,
get.
use some momentum, man.
Can I
Maybe a value even if something applies.
You could
That's
call
a good
upon a
call.
value. Yes, Omek.
Do that.
What values do you have?
Nothing that will help me now.
You don't know. You never know. Make a pitch.
I mean,
Can I make a
my
command?
mind is
Can I-
sharper than my dagger.
What was that? What was that, Aliza?
I was going to say, can I give him a command to give him another if he can use a value and can he use 2 determination?
He can technically use your orders as a value once per game. If you order him, that's part of your mission. Your mission,
Mhm.
you can call upon your mission profile to do this. So why don't we do this? Yes. So why don't we say this? Why don't we say that the mission order was to get information off the database, if you can do it. So I'll let you call upon that value. So
I
that
also
would
have.
be-
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, calling upon that determination is going to give you 2 auto successes.
I also have a talent for advisor.
Uh,
Does that apply here?
if you want to use that to help him, because advisor, what does advisor do?
Whenever you assist another character using your command discipline, the character being assisted may reroll 1d20. But does that take away my turn too?
It will take away your turn because you're using your action to give an order.
I actually have in the nick of time. So when you succeed at an engineering or science task as part of an extended task, you score 1 additional work for every effect rolled.
This is not an extended task. Otherwise, that would totally come in handy. This is a one-time. There's no time for an extended task here. Actually, that's not true. This would be a perfect extended task. I'm going to say this is a timed extended task. So we're going to set
blow up. You mean?
Yeah, before the ship explodes. So I tell you what, I'm going to set the magnitude of this at. I'll set the magnitude of this at 3. The work track is going to be at 10. So I'll keep track of this with you, Philip, because this is a system that you're still learning.
Okay.
So go ahead, and we're going to make our first check on an extended task. You're racing against the clock. So let me just pull out the work track helper here. So you're racing against the clock to get this data off of this. So I'm going to set the base difficulty of this. Since you're doing an extended task, I'm going to set the base difficulty of this at 4. I'm going to drop it by 1. Or actually, I'll set it at 3, but I'm going to give you a resistance of 3. I'll set the magnitude at 2. And the amount of work, we're just going to make this up as we go. I'll set the amount of work, let's see, 3, 6, 9 at 9. This is a timed task. Okay. You have 3 intervals in which to complete this task. The magnitude of this is 2. I'm sorry, I'm going to set the resistance. I'm going to modify this a little bit. Resistance is 2. And I'll just do work of 10. Okay, so you have 3 intervals to set this off, to get this done. Every time you make a roll, that's going to take up 2 intervals. But you can spend momentum to reduce that down to 1. So go ahead and roll the dice. You're going to make your science. You actually are going to get the ship's computer to help you on this.
Is it in science?
It's computer science, correct. The difficulty of this is 3.
But it's reason and science, right? My reason and
Reason
science.
and science, yes. And the Nausicaan, I'll roll for the Nausicaan ship computer.
Oh, I got a 2 and a 17, so 1 success.
Okay. Okay, the computer's not going to help you. You got 1 success.
But isn't that a crit?
2 a critical.
Oh wait, focus. If there's a focus.
What are your focuses, Omek?
It's sensors, batleth, spatial phenomena, hunting, xenology, survival.
No, but can I make a suggestion? Since this is your first time doing this, I'll let you apply this retroactively. Spend momentum to gain extra dice here.
Okay.
You've already got 2 successes going for you. Actually,
One.
You rolled one success, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you called upon it. I forgot that you called upon a determination. So you need, and you rolled one success. You actually beat the difficulty of this. So what I would do now, you're going to roll 2. What is your science roll?
Science is 5. Reason
Okay.
is 11.
Science is 5. That's going to be super handy. Okay. And okay, so your science is, so this is 5 plus 2. Okay, so you're actually going to roll 7 dice.
Okay.
I recommend you spending momentum to get rid of the resistance right now. That's going to cost you 1 to get rid of the resistance of this roll.
Commander, is it okay? Gotcha.
So roll 7d6.
Okay.
And tell me what you get.
I got a 1, a 4, and a 5.
Just tell me how many successes. So ones
okay.
count for
Okay.
ones. That's
Yes.
okay. Ones count for ones, 2s are 2s. And then 5s and 6s count for 1s here.
So I got 2 successes right now. 2 successes so far. 2. Yeah. 3.
So what's your total?
3. That's it. It's so
You rolled a total of 3. I would recommend spending momentum right now to re-roll the dice that did not roll the numbers you need. So you can actually re-roll the ones that did not come up as effects or as numbers.
sorry, guys. I'm gonna use one more.
No, that's the game. So go ahead and re-roll
Okay.
those dice, but go ahead and spin the
What we
momentum.
at right now, momentum wise? I'm sorry. What is it?
Now we're at 3. We got 3 momentum.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to keep track.
So I'm doing 7 over again, right, Eric?
You'll keep the ones that you already rolled. So you're only going to roll 3 of those came up. So you can actually roll the ones that did not come up anything.
Okay. So it should be 4 then. Let me see.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I suck. I have I got 1. I got 1. It was a 6, and then the rest were all 3s.
Oh no.
I rolled
Well-
3 3s, guys.
So your total. So tell me the total out of the 7 dice that you rolled.
So it was 3 4. Yeah, that was it. 4.
So 4 total successes.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Okay, that's not bad. And you got past the resistance. So that's going to be 1 off the work track. Let's see. Okay. You're working furiously. But the
Yeah,
clock
well-
is racing and you make 4 points of progress on the work track after nailing those successes. But you're starting to really feel the pressure, Omek. As your fingers are dashing, like playing across this computer console, you're just you can see the files, you can see the things opening up. You actually did quite well on that roll, but it's just the clock ticking is making this very, very difficult. So
Worst
Omek
comes
is doing that. What's up?
Oh, I said if worst comes to worst, don't beat me back. I'm just kidding.
All right, it's their action. The captain pulls a disruptor and he's shouting something to you. In Nausicaan, the universal translator picks up that he's basically shouting swear words at you. He is going to aim for you, Aliza. He sees you. He pulls the disruptor. I'm going to call upon... nope, none of these values would apply. He doesn't have a value that is really going to apply here. That's the problem with being a bully. You spend all your values on being a bully. So this is a control security check. The difficulty here is 2. I'm actually going to raise the difficulty because the ship around him is blowing up. So the difficulty of this shot, even at this range, I'm going to set it at 3. He doesn't have stable footing. There is smoke and fire all in front of him. It's a surprise attack. Like I'm gonna give him a 3 difficulty here. I'm gonna spend a point of threat to give myself 3 dice, and now I'm gonna try to kill Commander Bemer. I roll a 16, a 14, and an 11. Let me look at his stats. He's gonna miss you. at point blank range with all the chaos going on around you. This commander pulls out. You see the disruptor level towards you. It is a Klingon disruptor. He probably took it off of a corpse of a Klingon warrior sometime or has bought it on the black market. But you see this Klingon disruptor level with you. And for a split second, Bamir, you might be just moments away from meeting your ancestors. When the bolt goes wide, right past you, searing some of your hair, slamming into the bulkhead and causing a hissing sound. You all hear the popping sound of a disruptor pistol going off. At this range, it gets mixed in with all the explosions that are happening all around you. I needed one more success. I missed you by 3. I'd have shot you. That's their action. It is now your team's action again.
I'm just proposing, I'm not yet committing to this, that I would, what Ramyan would want to do is use that gift of gab of his and force a surrender.
Let me crash this dude's head into the container, please.
These are your options.
How many people get a turn this round from our side?
So on this action, you guys select who wants to go next. And then that person goes, and then it's their turn again.
Only one person goes from our team each round.
That's correct. But you can actually spend momentum to retain the initiative. So if you burn 2 momentum, you can actually, let me double check that. But if you spend momentum, you can actually retain the initiative and go again.
Can we do that so we can do both?
Yeah. And question, there's 6 of them on the bridge?
2
Is
of
that
them
right?
were killed, right? So there's only 4.
Technically, there are 6 of them on the bridge still, yes.
Okay, there's 18. There were 18 total on the ship. 2 of them are gone.
Right.
But 6 are on the bridge. All right. I would like to, before we do anything, I'd like to just call out targets. So I have a talent where I can basically call out targets in when I assist a character making an attack. So any of you using assist or direct or some other means, the assisted character generates 2 bonus momentum if their attack succeeds. So I want to give you all 2 bonus momentum if you succeed in your whatever attacks you have.
So you can use that on one character.
One person. Okay.
You can direct one person to attack and assist with them with the attack.
All right.
Because-
Well, I think Ramyan, if you do want to convince the captain to surrender, that's cool because we want to capture the captain. But we do need to like disengage, or we need to get these other people not to keep shooting at us. So let's say Kotar, I'm going to give you call out targets to disarm someone.
Thank you, Captain.
I mean, technically smashing his head into the computer console will disarm him.
Perfect.
Cool. Maybe pick a different target because you already took one person out, I guess.
This is what I was confused about. Did I take Buddy out automatically when I spent the
No. You haven't done your action yet.
Well, just take someone out and then the Ramyan. Yes, I would say if you can get them to surrender, then we'll take them in.
So you've got. All right, so then my question is, y'all are going to burn the 2 momentum to retain initiative?
Yes.
Okay, so then you can totally go Kotar, and then the retaining of the initiative, that can be Ramyan basically saying, give it the hell up.
Can we do that?
If you'd like to.
Let's do it.
Go ahead. So then your minor action is basically clearing the distance to this Nausicaan who's fumbling for the disruptor upon seeing you. You're going to clear that distance. Go ahead and make your attack roll. This is a daring plus security check versus his daring for plus security check. I do not envy him.
Let's go. Love to see that.
Yeah, this is not going to go well for this Nausicaan.
That's 2 successes.
How much?
That's 2 successes.
2 successes? All right. So the difficulty was 1. So you're going to bank 1 momentum if he doesn't roll better than that. So give me 1 sec. He's fucked. Okay. So this is going to be daring plus security. Okay. He's not a pushover. Let's see what he can do. I rolled a 4 and a 14. How many did you roll?
I got 2 successes.
What is your daring rating?
It's 50. My daring is 10.
Your daring is 10. He actually beats you.
No.
He actually manages to beat you on that roll. He is going to attempt to backhand you. So you run up there and you make a grab for him. He actually sees you coming and drops his disruptor instinctively and throws a fist. He throws hands. So let me roll for his damage real quick. I can't believe he beat you. Let's see. He's gonna roll. Here we are. Okay. So, oh God. 3 points of damage. Non-lethal. I did not roll an effect, so there's no knockdown. He puts his fist across the side of your face. There's a slapping sound as this Nausicaa's knuckles impact on the side of your face. And Kotar, as the impact hits you, you kind of do the Terminator glance back at him. Your head just kind of angles back and you look at him and you can see the alarm in his face. He's probably not used to people not going down when he hits them. But as the impact hits, now actually hold up a second. You're a Klingon. Don't you have Brakul?
Correct, I do.
What does Brakul do?
1 second. Various psychological resistance. You gain 2 resistance against all non-lethal attacks. In addition, whenever you are a target of a first aid task, you reduce the difficulty of the task by 1 minimum.
So he did 3 damage?
Yes.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
You're wearing Klingon armor, which gives you 1, and you've got Brakul, which gives you 2. So as his fist strikes you across the face, you don't feel it. You take no damage at all as this Nausicaan strikes you across the skull.
He not built right.
And that is what happens when you punch a Klingon in the face. You kind of do the Terminator look back at him. And the Nausicaan realizes the danger he is in. You guys retain initiative, so it's now going to be Ramyan's turn.
Okay. There's a lot for me to recount here, but I will just do the narrative first.
Okay.
I hop to the captain with both mechleths and scissor them to his neck.
So that's going to be an attack, because if you try to put your mechleths against his neck, he's going to absolutely try to get away from that.
All right. I will palm it like ready, but not bring it up to him immediately.
Okay.
And say, "Listen, Nausicaan, Klingons are not known for taking prisoners, but today you are fortunate. Surrender now and survive yet one more day."
Okay.
I have focuses in persuasion. I have diffuse the tension, which adds a bonus d20 to my dice pool if I attempt a task to persuade someone not to resort to violence. And I have the value, words and weapons are best used in concert to get your way.
So I would say that value is definitely going to come into play. You're not diffusing the tension. This is an intimidation roll.
All right.
So it's not persuasion. This is literally to intimidate him to drop weapons and surrender. So go ahead. This is an opposed roll. This is a social combat roll. So it's an opposed check. You are going to, let me just pull up his stats here. You are going to roll your presence plus command.
Great.
And this is literally a roll off. So it's going to be a difficulty 1 check. And it's going to function pretty much like combat. So I'm actually going to spend a momentum here to gain a 3rd die. You're calling upon, I'm going to call upon a value as well, which is my way or the airlock. He's going to call upon that value. So that's going to give me 2 auto successes and a 3rd die. So go ahead and make your roll. You guys are kind of rolling the same thing, although you might have the upper hand on this.
How much momentum do we still have, team? Shall I use one more?
You can buy more than 1 die. Just keep that in mind. It's just more expensive.
I think we only have 1 more.
Because we use 2 to keep the initiative.
Yeah, I mean, I would say go for it.
All right. So that's 3 die plus the what does determination do when I
Determination functions like you rolled a die and gained an immediate auto success.
Okay.
Yeah. So right now you're technically at maximum dice. So go ahead and roll, and I'm going to roll.
Out of my 3, I got 3 successes,
Okay.
plus whatever the determination adds.
So you have determination adds an auto success. So that's 2. You got 5 total successes. I had a determination, which gave me 2 successes. And then I rolled a 5, which gave me a 3rd success, a 10, which gave me a 4th success, and then a natural 20, which is a complication failure on his part. So, with your blades raised, with his ship falling apart around him, with his crew screaming for orders, with Kotar rolling with the punch and a bloody grin on his face, having taken no damage from the attack, with the commander standing before him, brazenly staring at him, the ferocity the ferocity of this attack. The ship is lost. This is done. His ship is burning down around him. There's nothing he can do. And you see the resignation fall into his eyes as we enter into the next action. He lowers his disruptor pistol and drops it to the ground. And he turns back over his shoulder and shouts something in Nausicaan. And you see the rest of them look kind of nervous and begin to drop their weapons. And the ship begins to rattle. You still have 3. This is all happening in a time span of like just a few moments. There was a blaster shot. There was the encounter of the punch. Omek is desperately on the computer right now trying to get everything up. And all of this has just happened. So we still have 3 rounds. But Omek, you are committed because you used your 2 intervals. So with that and the order from the captain, combat technically ends unless you guys want to continue.
Oh, can I choke out this guy?
If you want to.
I just want to pick him up by the throat and tell him that your blood is water.
Okay.
Before we go too much further, do we bank any momentum for that roll?
1. Yes, you banked 1 momentum. Go ahead and make your roll. This is going to be a daring security check against his daring security check. Oh, Jesus Christ. I rolled a 20 and an 18.
I got a 10 and a 3.
Okay, so he's in your hands right now, and you lift this Nausicaan off the deck plates of the bridge. You're holding him up, shouting at him that his blood is water. He's just dangling as he's clawing at your hands, this look of horror on his face as you watch Kotar full on body press this Nausicaan off the ground by his neck. And at that point, the captain looks back at you and says, "We surrender."
I'm going to signal to Riek. Riek, beam the Nausicaans to... Do we even have a brig?
You do.
Okay.
Yes.
Then we're going to... I'm going to say beam all the Nausicaans that are alive to the brig. And the rest of us back to the
There's
bridge.
too many. I can beam you and maybe a few of the Nausicaans on the bridge.
I go over and stand next to the... Actually, I'll say, Ra'amyan, if you don't mind, I'll just say, since you're right next to the captain, I want you 2 to go first so that we capture the captain.
Javek, Commander.
All right,
Okay.
take Ra'amyan and the Nausicaan next to him.
I'm going to roll
And
for Riek to get y'all out of there.
Whoever else you can.
Okay, so Riek is going to make a... Okay, this is going to be control engineering check. Difficulty will be 2 because of the situation. I rolled a 13 and a 16. Let's see, what is her... Okay, so 1 success. Let's roll for the Borku. She's having trouble getting a lock on you guys. Let's see if the Borku helps. It's going to be sensors, engineering.
Anytime now.
I rolled a natural 1. The Borku compensating. There is a red glow, and you see Ra'amyan and the captain, along with two of the raiders that are on the bridge, beam off. You hear confirmation from Riek on the bridge say, I have the Beks, Ra'amyan, and the Nausicaan captain and two of his men. That's as much as I can get right now. The ship's coming apart, Commander. Bemir, get out of there.
Well, keep getting us all. Keep trying to transport us out. I'm gonna also go over to Omek and check on how he's doing.
Omek, we're going to enter into the second half here of your role as you're scrambling to get this information off of the computer before the ship explodes. You have done, let's see. You have completed 4 work. So not bad, because you went past the resistances. Go ahead and make your roll. The base difficulty of this roll is 3.
Can I help at all?
You could probably help, actually. Yes, Dodge, because you actually have computer, if I remember correctly.
Computer.
What's your? Let me look at this real quick. You should be able to help here. What is you could use if you want? I'll let you use your control engineering. If you want to help.
I have a talent. I'm a doctor, not a blank. And
That's right, you do.
So I can substitute my medicine score for the other one that's worthless.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're basically going to use your medicine score for this. So that's calling upon your determination for the scene, which you haven't done yet. So you're going to burn that. And you can substitute your medicine score. So you're going to roll control plus medicine as an assist.
Okay.
That's pretty amazing. So, Omek, go ahead and make your recent science check. I'm going to roll for the computer here.
Ooh, I got 1 success.
Oh, boy.
2 and a 20.
You rolled a 20?
Yeah, 20, yeah. Sorry.
Okay. That's a complication. What did you get? Idaj?
I got a success.
A success? So that's 2. All right. So I'm adding... So because you rolled a complication, I'm adding +1 to the interval. So go ahead and you guys can now roll. So you made the base difficulty. You just got 1 success. The computer got 1 success. Okay, so across the 3 of you got 3 successes. If you have any momentum, if you burn through it to get the resistance down, you'll roll 2 dice plus your science check here. 7 dice again. But you're going to need to burn 2 momentum to get that resistance to go away.
We only have 1.
I thought we had 2. No.
No,
We banked the 1 from my words, and then I left.
All right.
I got a.
Oh, I'm sorry.
When I picked him up by the neck, I got a 5.
It scales. I just remembered it actually scales. So 1 momentum equals 2 resistance, and 2 momentum equals, I believe, 4 resistance. It doubles up. So if it's 3, you can actually spend that 1 momentum to drop it down to 1. So for every momentum you spend, it drops the resistance by 2.
You guys mind?
Do it.
I'm gonna spend it. Okay. And then Eric, what?
Thank you, Xander, for playing an engineer and rolling all those damn extended tasks for me to remember that rule. So you're going to roll 7 dice, and you're going to subtract 1 success from whatever you roll. So go ahead and make the roll.
Okay.
And
2.
add that up.
3, 4. 4.
Get 5.
5.
That's a breakthrough.
6. 6 total.
6 total.
Yes.
So -1 because of the resistance. So that's going to bring it down to 5. So that is going to give you. So here's the. So the good news is you did amazing on that roll and you got a breakthrough. The bad news is as you complete that portion of the work track, you're out of time. you're not going to be able to get the information off of the computer before the ship comes apart. You managed to complete one breakthrough, but there's too much work to still do. So as you're scrambling across here, Adaj is next to you trying to fill in some of the gaps and pull the data. But at about that point, the entire bridge rattles violently in front of you, and all of your ears begin to feel the depressurization. You can hear Riek on the comm saying, "Get out of there if you don't want to die."
All right. Can I want to give Riek actually a direct task and just say, "Get us out of here."
Okay, she's going to beam you out. I'm going to have her call upon her value.
I just gave her one too.
Oh, that's true.
Can she do both? Is that possible?
No, it's only one at a time. So either one. So she'll call it. She'll use yours.
Okay.
She'll take the order. So that'll give her one auto success. Do you guys have any? Oh, nope, you just used your last momentum. So she gets 2 successes off the top. Here we go. Let's see how she does. Difficulty is 3. Okay. I'm going to roll for the ship, the Borku. Okay. Bank 2 momentum. As you hear that shouting noise, the rest of you, a reddish glow envelops all of you as you are beamed off of this bridge. Seconds after your feet vanish from the deck plating of the bridge, it explodes. You arrive, and from a site-to-site transport, Commander, you beam back aboard the bridge of your vessel along with your crew. Some of you were singed. What's that?
I get up so that Commander Bamir can take the seat.
Some of you are singed. Some of you have got sort of like smoke in your lungs, so there's some coughing as y'all beam back on board. And on the view screen, you see this like looking at each other's faces as you beam back on board. You can see this like bright flicker suddenly as you turn and look as you watch the warp core breach, and this ship that's only 300 kilometers away scatters in a fireball in space. You see the shockwave headed your way, and Bamir, you just hear Riek shout, "Brace."
Ra'amyan, get us out of here. Can we? Yeah.
It's not 300 kilometers away is so close. This shockwave is gonna hit you.
It's only
crap.
150
Shields up.
telecam.
Shields up.
Yes, shields were up because you guys were at battle alert. The moment you decloaked, the ship went to battle stations because you guys
All right.
open fired. So you dash forward, you see this explosion coming, smashes into the shields, the ship just rattles for a moment. And it's kind of quiet. And you watch on the view screen as you just see pieces of this ship hurtling out into space. And it's over.
All right. Well done, crew. Ra'amyan, let's head back to Tyvokor.
Any chance that some piece of data survived that explosion before I engage course?
Are you asking me?
I'm saying it to the crew.
So, Omek, you were the one that was actually in charge of trying to get that data off of that ship. You go and check your science station to see how much you were able to get off. And you just see data file incomplete coming up on the transfer station. Meaning your only source of information now is the captain of the Nausicaan vessel.
Are the prisoners on the bridge with Ra'amyan, or were they beamed to the brig separately?
Only the captain is on the bridge with you guys. Everybody else was beamed to the brig, but everyone who was off the bridge was beamed off the bridge and onto the bridge.
Question.
Yeah.
I am still holding this dude by his neck, correct?
Yes. You are. You beamed on board, still holding him by his neck. Yes, you are.
I'm assuming I'm standing next to Kotar. I just want to kick his prisoner and say I wanted to stab someone. That's it.
You kick this prisoner who's being lifted off the ground still. This Nausicaan is turning different colors at this point and is being kicked in his behind by a very angry XO.
Yeah. I kick him and maybe he'll fall to the ground if I kick him hard enough. Is that okay?
He kind of swings a little bit. He's just being held. He is going to lose consciousness in a few moments. What would you guys like to do?
Once he passes out, can I just drop him?
Okay, so you do wait for him to black out.
Yeah.
Eventually, his fumbling for your hands. He tries to say something to you, but it doesn't come out, and then his eyes roll into the back of his head, and he hangs limply from your hands.
And then after he's done, can I look over at the captain, their captain, the non-city captain, and go, Commander, in a very Liam Neeson-esque voice, I have a particular set of skills. Let me find out what's going on with these here Nausicaans and their plans.
Is the captain in the brig too, though?
No, he actually beamed with Ra'amyan onto the bridge.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's actually here on the bridge being held at Disruptor Point and Mekhleth Point.
Okay.
And the only other thing that's happening right now is the heavy thudding of an unconscious Nausicaan dropping to the ground near the security station.
All right. Kotar, yes. I want you to take this captain to a secure room and question him. And then I signal to a security Beck who's on the bridge and say, take care of that one. The one who's passed out. Bring him to the bridge, to the brig.
All right. He's dragged out. The captain is also escorted out by Disruptor Pistol and headed down to the brig.
I'd like to actually go down. Well, first, I'd like to question the captain too.
Okay.
So let's. I'm gonna say Ra'amyan, set in a course for Taigokor. I'm saying it wrong. Taigokor.
Yeah.
There it is. Set in a course for Taigokor. Edaj, why don't you come with us too?
Excellent. I was very sad because I'm hoping I can put my blades to work. And I look at the captain.
And Omek, while we're gone, I want you to just do keep your sensors at the ready, just in case they have some friends who are looking for revenge on us.
I'm actually going to drown my sorrows in blood wine because I failed you guys. I apologize.
You're fine. All right, let's go.
You're fine. Let's go. And with that, the commander just pivots on her heel and stomps off the bridge. Omek, you are left alone for a moment. Looking out into the view screen, you can see the stars spinning as Ra'amyan, taking the helm, guides the IKS Borku out of the position behind the asteroid. And you watch the stars become a blur as he angles the ship back towards the side, facing away from the sun. You can hear him typing in the coordinates and setting course for max warp 8 again. And as he's doing this, you can't shake the feeling that in that cold, dark vastness of space was the data that you were trying to get, that you were ordered to get. You had one task on that journey, on that away mission, and it eats at you. As you slide into your science station and looking at this blinking light that's confirming, written across it in Klingon, data transfer incomplete. You reflexively slam your fist against the computer console before you have an opportunity to understand your feelings. Bam! Ra'amyan, you can hear behind you. You know what's going on the moment you hear the fist smashing into the console. And then all is quiet on the bridge as a few of the Becks just kind of look at each other and give Lieutenant Omek his space. But everyone saw. So, meanwhile, what's up?
If I could do one thing.
Yeah.
As we are exiting with the prisoner, I want to actually go on comms and I want to start.
Okay.
Tamedun pomedun. Tamedun pomedun. Tamedun pomedun. Tamedun pomedun. Tamedun. So that the whole ship starts singing
crew
it.
begins to join in as they hear their commander Everyone fully aware that you guys just stomped face, that you just completely annihilated an enemy of the Klingon Empire, one that had the audacity to attack your shipyards, one that killed Klingon civilians, not even warriors, Klingons that were engineers and scientists, all killed on that station. Now those Nausicaans are burning in space or in your brig. And you can hear through the bulkheads as the entire crew begins to join in. As y'all are all leading this defeated Nausicaan captain down the corridor, him glancing left and right and seeing the snarling faces of angry Becks who see their enemy, laughing at him, roaring cheers, calling out your name, Bemir, calling out the name of House Kvek as you guide him down this corridor. A few times as he slows down, Adaj just shoves him forward, the small Klingon just sending him tripping forward as he dashes towards the entryway into the brig. Finally, you guys manage to get him into the room, and the roaring sound of the crew dies out as these heavy doors close behind you. Pushing him into the brig, the energy field immediately activates. You now have him at your disposal.
Ooh, Captain, may I proceed?
Yes, I will assist however I can.
Okay. So instead of activating the energy field, as you push this Nausicaan captain in, a beat passes. And then a step as Kotar enters the brig with him. Kotar, if I can be honest, your character kind of reminds me of the Klingon version of Amos from The Expanse. You enjoying this a little too much. All 7 feet of you steps in, and now you have this Nausicaan to yourself with the captain behind you.
Oh,
He's looking at you.
Can I go to a replicator on the wall and get an order of gach so I can just munch while I'm watching this?
Oh, yeah, sure. It's replicated gach, but you're just going for a snack anyway, so screw it. You just order it.
Yeah.
And you jam it into your mouth.
I hop up on a table so I can sit and watch and eat my gach as I dribble the wood.
You pull up a chair, kick back with this bowl of replicated gach. Most Klingons wouldn't take the time to eat this, but again, it's a snack and this is going to be fun. Maybe if you close your eyes, it'll taste like the real thing. You just jam it into your mouth. These worms just slithering around as you just chomp them down.
I walk over to Adaj and take some gach and join her and watch.
Again, replicated gach is kind of like eating tasteless
stale
rice
popcorn.
cake. Yeah, stale popcorn. But at the same time, it's dead replicated gach, but here you are enjoying yourselves. Maybe the show will make this better. What are you going to do, Kotar?
I want to take off my cufflinks and get a little loose and limber.
Oh no!
And I want to tell this here Nausicaan, just for your knowledge, I am half Vulcan and I could do this the easy way. But where's the fun in that? And so then I punch him in the stomach, and then I go, "This is going to be a long day for you." And then we start to commence the actions on the.
All right, I won't even have you make rolls. You start pounding on him. As the two of you watch Kotar work this guy, this Nausicaan pirate does not stay on his feet very long. Kotar, what is your security roll? What is your security rating?
5.
And your daring and your fitness. What are those two?
10, both of them.
Both of them are 10.
I have a focus in athletics.
Right, okay. So this mountain of a Klingon is beating the unholy hell out of this Nausicaan. What occurs to this Nausicaan as you're decking him left and right, punching him in the stomach, lifting him up off the ground. This guy's the same size as you, Kotar. As you're pounding on him, it starts to occur to the Nausicaan, you haven't even asked questions yet. Eventually, after a few good, meaty smacks of your fist against this guy's face, his skull, his chest, his stomach, he finally drops to the floor on all fours and coughs up this dark greenish, reddish ichor. Spatters all over the bulkhead.
And I step in and just interrupt, like, whoa, let's hold on a second, Kotar. let's let him speak a little bit. And I say, hey, you want some gack?
Can the shield drop down while I go grab some? I go, you know what? My bad. I got a little carried away. That's my bad. That's my bad, Captain. I'm sorry.
Since we know his name, I know this might sound like a silly question. Can I do like a somewhat of a Google search on this guy and try to figure out like if he has family, and maybe we can bring in his family and like use that as leverage to kind of like get any other kind of information out of him?
Yeah, I mean,
so I'll go ahead and tell you, because you guys have succeeded on the roll multiple times now. You literally have all the information that he had. So you have all the information that this Nausicaan actually had available to him regarding the mission that he accomplished. You can try looking up his name. You have that he was supposed to raid a station, and he gave you another name too. Those are the 3 bits of information you have. You can use the computers to look those up. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, when I say we're done here, I motion for Idaj and Kotar to follow me back to the bridge. And on the way, I say they do not deserve the release of Death. Kotar, save your strength for another, some other fight. It's not worth it.
I apologize, Captain. I let my anger control me. It is out of character for me.
It's all right. Just let's remember why we're here.
You arrive on the bridge. Crews leave their stations as you all resume your posts. What would you like to do?
I'd like to find the location of Gukmol, as well as any relationship to I need to find the commander, any kind of thing that he has of some sort, if I can.
Okay. So you use the computer's database. So, Omek, I'm going to need you to make a roll. You're going to need to roll this is actually going to be a reason. I would say this is a reason. I would say this is a reason science check for you, as you're doing some problem solving here. And whoever wants to roll for the IKS Borku, this is computers plus security.
I'll roll it. It's just the one, right?
Yes. The difficulty for this roll is 5.
Woo! I got a 15 and a 1. That's 2 successes.
Nope. You got a 1. So that's a critical hit. So that's 2 successes.
Oh.
The 15 counts, so that's 3 successes.
Hey.
Once again, computer security?
Computer security, yes. Now, because you rolled when I gave you the difficulty, I will let you spend momentum to gain a 3rd die here, since you didn't get a chance to do that, if you want. Because you do have 2 momentum, am I correct? You decided not to burn that to get the opportunity cost on the Batleth. So I give you that option.
Yeah, use that momentum.
Okay. In that case, Phillip, go ahead and roll 1 more d20 and tell me what you get.
11. Yes, success.
Okay, so now Quincy, go ahead and roll for the IKS Borku. Tell me what you get.
Failure.
Failure. So that's a total of how many successes? 4, I believe, correct?
4.
Okay. The computer immediately knows the name Gukmo. And it immediately locks you out. Whatever Gukmo is, it's classified. And it has a high-level clearance on it from Imperial Intelligence, Klingon Imperial Intelligence.
Captain, what precisely were we sent to find?
We were sent to capture or destroy the Nausicaan raiders.
So that was the message that came up on this, but one name does flag. Shipyard 20, the Scrapyard 26, where you all found the IKS Borku waiting for you. Scrapyard 26, where you all showed up and managed to get together and save that scrapyard from being raided by these Nausicaans? A piece of information that's very curious does come up. And it immediately, to those of you who know your Klingon history, you become aware immediately of the implications that might be involved here. As the data is playing across the view screen in front of you, Bamir, you and Adaj side by side watching it, as you're basically watching in real time as Omek is digging through files and using keywords that you guys have learned. You see that the Guhmo is classified. You don't know what it is. But curiously enough, that station, that scrapyard 26, it used to have another name. It was once called Mook Station. And it was owned personally by the House of Chang, who was headed by none other than one of the most infamous generals in Klingon history. As it all settles in, that is where we wrap up our first session of Blood of the Void. So, you killed Nausicaans. You uncovered the plot. You found top secret files. Something is going on here. And you've uncovered a name from Klingon history, General Chang. This scrapyard did indeed used to be a shipyard that was controlled by the family, the House of Chang, a house that has fallen into disgrace hundreds of years ago, over 100 years ago. The last time the House of Chang was in existence was 2293. So it's been a while. Guys, this was the end of our very first game session for Blood of the Void. Thank you so much. I hope y'all had fun. Did y'all enjoy playing Klingons and backing the hell out of things? As we wrap up here, I just want to give everyone a thank you for joining us for this first chapter in this new campaign. We're going to be back on the 27th. And on the 27th, we are going to be jumping forward in time. So it'll be 6 months later. We're going to catch up to where the USS Ross is. Or that's not 6 months. We're going to catch up to the start date of where the USS Ross is at. As these campaigns will officially be joining side by side in their timeline. We'll find out what's been going on since discovering this, what the story here is with Klingon intelligence, and what is the IKS Borku up to now? Where is she stationed? And what is her crew doing? Until then, we leave you with this. Die well.